everyone. The roads today are not in great shape. They're thawing and refreezing, and they're kind of a mess. We got a beautiful sunset here. We plan on sleeping in the truck overnight and setting out first thing in the morning. We are on our way right now to go camping at the abandoned prison in northern Ontario, Canada. We camped here back in the summertime, but we want to come back now that it's winter and try camping again. Tonight's going to be quite below freezing, but tomorrow is going to be about 52 degrees or 11 Celsius. It's even going to stay above freezing overnight there. And then our way out, it's going to be very warm for this time of year and actually raining. So, might not have a good way back, but I'm just curious, how far up to this place did they plow the roads? I don't think they plowed all the way up to the railroad tracks where we were able to park in the summer. I don't think so. But we're going to find out how far in they did. I'm hoping they at least plowed up to the campground. And then our walk isn't really much longer. So far, so good. These stupid grouse birds never move out of the road. To the left, it looks like the entire road, it looks like they've been clearing this with a massive industrial snowblower rather than a plow. See how it's so flat, the edges of the road? It's very pretty out here now. Sometimes mud can be just as slippery as ice. We're gonna start using four-wheel drive here. This is just like the logging roads I travel. It's already starting to become mud season, and this road is gonna be way worse on the way out after a couple of days of really warm weather that we're about to get. I don't know if you could hear that. The tires are spraying up this sandy gravel. It acts like a sandblasting. It's ripping the paint right off the frame. That's why every season I have to go and paint because of roads like this. The weather is very beautiful right now. The sun, it takes forever for the sun to go down this far north. Just driving up here, we instantly gained an hour of daylight since what we're used to yesterday. This is the end of the road where they stop plowing, where we'll have to find a place to park. They got insulated toilets, which I've never seen before. Wow, take a look at this. That is one of the brightest moons I've ever seen in my life. You can walk around without a flashlight here. Okay, this is weird. So what you're seeing is moonlight. I got nothing on. That is running lights. Arcing lights, high beam, off-road lights. So we pulled down here earlier, as you saw, when it was daylight. There was these vehicles here. There was another vehicle that left. These two vehicles here are government vehicles. The license plate says Canada on them. It doesn't say Ontario or anything like that. It just says Canada, some sort of government vehicles. There's a bunch of, when we just came down here 5 minutes ago, there's a whole bunch of red lights in the woods. We just backed up. Only saw like one. Backed up more. Now, for whatever it is, whatever they're doing down there, they shut it all off. It's weird. Got these weird insulated porta potties. We don't know what to do. There's a gate here we don't want to block. There's a gate over here we don't want to block. There's signs everywhere saying no trespassing government property. Well, the road itself is public, but they don't plow it past this point, so I really don't know if we can park like right next to the SUV or what. I don't know. So we took off for about an hour. Went to get something to eat in town because we figured we can't park here. Then we drove down here again. Saw nothing. went to park a little bit ways back. Then we were thinking, well, we might as well park here and see what happens overnight. That would give us more peace of mind to see what would happen to the vehicle or whatever on the night that we aren't here, because we'll be camping at the abandoned prison. It's good to know that they're doing something here in the woods. I see a bunch of red lights. They're not here doing some kind of training or something at the actual prison, so that's good. But it's still strange, there's nowhere to park there. I'm either going to block their SUV if that truck doesn't move. The truck is smack in the middle of the road. We can't park next to it. Can't park next to the porta potties because then we'd be blocking a gate that's been apparently opening, going to something. I don't know if I should just park here on the side of the road, if I'll get in trouble for doing that. I really don't know. I don't know what to think right here. I really want to camp at that prison, but parking is becoming a problem. It's an unfamiliar area, and both sides of the road are military property. All right, everyone, we're back the next morning. It's 9:45 in the morning. We're about to set off on our hike to the prison. We just asked, and people here, it's military training going on. They said it's okay if we park here, since we're going to be walking somewhere where they're not near. So it seems a little weird parking here. They told me to just park facing up the hill. Seems a little weird blocking this amount of road. I told them we'd be here overnight. They said it was okay, so let's go. All right, everyone, we got the toboggan all set up. We got the bungee cords because we're going to be going up and down a bunch of hills. And here we go. Got a bunch of ammo cans and stuff here. They've been setting off shots all morning. Now we're going to go down the road, and then we'll start filming once we get away from the parking lot a little bit. All right, everyone, so this part of the road, they're not plowing. There's still a couple of feet here, but it's very packed. And I just didn't want to take the risk driving the truck down here further. It looks like I easily could have, but I don't know how difficult conditions get. So this makes the hike about twice as long as it was in the summer to get to the prison. You see over here at the lake, they got some kind of military training going on. Must have been what we saw last night with all the red lights I described, and then they shut them all off when they saw a vehicle coming. All right, everyone, there's the end of the vehicle tracks, so it looks like we couldn't have gone any further. Now there's a few snowmobile tracks, human tracks. Wow, that smoke looks beautiful with the sun. The smoke bombs. Looks like they got ice fishing going on there also with their training. We're going up a steep hill right now. It'll be harder to pull the sled out tomorrow because this is going to be a slushy mess. The sled actually glides over this ice very nicely. The overnight low that I recorded was 23 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight at the prison, it's going to be very warm. It's going to be not even getting to get below freezing. It's going to be like 52 degrees overnight or 11 Celsius. Tomorrow's going to be on and off rain showers on the way back. Incredibly warm for this time of year. Close to 60 degrees or 15 degrees Celsius. So we might get wet on the way back, but at least it won't be very cold. Our blood's already pumping, so this is nice. We're just going to take turns pulling the sled around. All right, everyone, we can see down there where we parked and all the smoke bombs going off. You can smell them now over here. It smells just like fireworks. Going all the way down here across the lake. Now we're about to hit a good incline. This is hard and packed. I have confidence my truck would have got down here easily. The thing is, when it's warm tomorrow, that's when you're more likely to spin off the road, because this is all gonna be really melting out tomorrow. The snow is quite deep when you're not on the trail. But right here, we don't need snowshoes, but we have them if we do encounter a spot where no one else is walking. But I'm assuming all these tracks here are going straight to the prison, because that's really all that's out here. And there's no other way to get to the prison unless you're walking down the river, and it's been warm out a couple days, so don't think that's a good idea. All right, everyone, we're climbing up one of the steeper parts of the road. At least on the way down, we don't have to pull this thing. We can just let it glide. That's why there's a handle on the back of it for when you're going downhill. I'm gonna have to take my jacket off soon too. I'm starting to sweat going up this hill. We're not as loaded as we've been sometimes, but still probably at least 80 pounds of gear. That was the workout. That's a pretty steep hill. Now all these clearings we're coming across is the old town of Burwash, which was demolished after the prison went away, because this town was only here for the prison. It's where all the staff lived. There were stores, libraries, schools, everything you could have imagined in this town. Everything demolished except this one prison building. And there was other prisons that were even bigger in the same town. Right here we got some old remnants from the town, whatever that might be. It looked like we were to the top, but this entire trail so far has been uphill. Right here we got this tree with all these names on it. I'm pretty sure back here behind this, down the hill, is the old cemetery that's still there. We're basically coming up to the center of town here, what once used to be. If the snow wasn't here, you can make out foundations and stuff. Up here you can even see the old power lines. Most of them have fallen down as the structures are rotting. It looks like half the trail veers off. I wonder how many people are actually going the prison route. The trail's getting a little more narrow. That's why we have snowshoes, because we don't know what to predict. We also don't know what to predict at the water crossings, because it's been warm up until this one day. So this area, to put into perspective, had nearly 5 feet of snowpack a couple weeks ago. Now it only has a couple. And after the heavy rain expected tonight, the few water crossings on this trail, who knows what they could be like in the morning. But it won't really matter if we're wet in the morning on our way out. Now we're starting to go downhill. It might get to the point I'll have to show you why I have a second handle on the sled. As soon as the sled crashes into me, which I think it's about to. So the back of the sled has a handle, so I don't have to be in the front of it on steep hills with it continuously crashing into my ankles. Not very steep of a hill, but kind of fun to give it a shove. Yeah, this is nothing of a hill, but it is working a bit. I think we'll have some steeper hills, especially on the way back. But on the way back, the heavy wet snow, the sled's not going to glide like this. In the summertime, when we have come here, this section of road is an absolute mud hole. I'm hoping that we're on foot today. We might see something we ordinarily miss, because I think every other time we've been here, there's been leaves on the trees. I'm glad I didn't bring the vehicle down here, because this area, I can tell you, the snow has more height than my undercarriage. And it's packed enough from snowmobiles throughout the winter, freeze and thaw cycles, that I very well might get through it. I probably would get down here. But would I get back? Because tomorrow with the warmer temperatures, the snow is no longer going to hold the vehicle. The wheels are going to sink. And then you're going to be belly in the snow going nowhere. And there's not too much around here to winch the truck off of. With all these open fields, I don't think I want to take that sort of risk. Alright everyone, I'm also realizing that tomorrow on the way out of here, because the snow's so deep, it's holding us now, but with the warmer weather, we're going to sink into this deeper than our boots. So the snowshoes were probably very smart to bring out here for tomorrow when this starts to become slushy. This would be beautiful, this giant lilac bush, if we came up here in like June or something. All right, everyone, another really big hill completed. This place has a lot of random apple trees too. All right, everyone, it got too hot for the jacket, so the jacket's off. Now we're about to go down another steep hill, and I'm thinking, let's just see how far the sled goes on its own. Is it gonna stop or is it gonna go? Ah, it stopped. I thought it was gonna go down there. Out of control. No, I don't think it's steep enough to get it rolling like that. Nope, not quite yet. Not steep enough. The cord also disappeared underneath it somehow. Maybe right here we can try it again. Now it's going. It's still moving. Not nearly as fast as I thought it was. And it stopped. Well, everyone, we're down that hill that has some good curves in the trail. Now, we're still going downhill for the foreseeable future, but it's easy going. It's no longer trying to crash into us. I don't have to keep tension on the back handle anymore. And it's her turn to pull it for a while. I pulled it up the steep hills, and now we're flat until we get over the railroad tracks. There's not many trails that are from snowmobiles. Not many people that I thought would have gone up here are going up here. There's bungee cords over all our stuff because there's a few spots where this sled is going to be slanted upwards and downwards at a 45-degree angle. Anyone who watched my summer video, they have barricades trying to stop ATVs from coming in here. So they thought making 20-foot ditches in the road would stop it, but they just made alternate trails around it. Maybe we'll take the alternate trails, probably. Wow, this time of year, it is so open. That right there is the giant reservoir they have. It was supposed to be left wide open, but the beavers plugged it up, and now the reservoir has been at capacity for a while. We've just reached an intersection. We're gonna turn left, and the railroad tracks where we usually park next to are only 5 minutes down the trail, so we completed this in about the time we said, about an hour. So now, from where we parked, we're a little bit under halfway there. All right, here we are at the intersection, taking a left. Straight ahead there goes down to the railroad tracks. That's actually more access to this reservoir. It goes to a dead-end road where people often camp. People sometimes camp down here. There's an old gravel pit and shooting range that sometimes they use for military training, or even private people will be in there. It's a gravel pit. Nothing says you can't go there. So you can usually drive here. I usually drive here. I usually take a left here and park about 5 minutes down here is what I think it'll take to walk. Because in the car, it only takes like 30 seconds. You can even see the end of this road. Look way down there. You can see the end of it, where we're going. And these roads here, if you've seen my summer video, they're usually mud holes. There's areas that have 2 feet of water. You can't bring a typical car down here. Although I have, and they had water lines halfway up their doors. I almost guarantee it got into their sedan. I can't believe someone brought a car like that down here when even in the summer these roads were scaring me. Oh, that's a sign we've never seen before because it's usually overgrown. This road is closed, authorized persons, effective September 1st, 1990 something. Can't read the rest of it. But that was back way in the day when this place was actually boarded up. They were still hoping to maybe use it for something. That was a long time ago. Now this place is open to the public. It even says on Google Maps, open 24 hours as a tourist attraction. Like I said, this area has been warm out for a while. This is not how much snow there once was. On the way up here, like southern Ontario, even Quebec, there's areas I've seen that they still have 5 feet of snow on the ground. It's crazy driving through those city streets, seeing snowbanks towering above your vehicle. But out here, not much of anything. I can, however, tell this trail is very packed. This was an awesome snowmobiling destination in the winter, but there's really zero snowmobile tracks here now. I'm wondering if the province has suspended snowmobile use for the season, because once it starts to melt, they tell everyone no more snowmobiling because you're basically hitting dirt. You're going to start wrecking the trails at that point. I'm wondering if they did that. There's very few tracks, and they're all leading out. These tracks wouldn't be here. These are people leaving last night. In this crunchy snow, we're not leaving as definitive, as detailed tracks anymore. Right here we have a really big body of water. It's already starting to thaw in certain areas because swamps have a lot of bacteria, and as it breaks down organic material, it creates heat. That's why swamps are the last to freeze and the first place to defrost. We're on top of a culvert pipe here. This is usually where we park to go to the prison. This is the parking lot for the hiking trail. So that just added twice the trail what we had to do. I also came here once with a little tiny trailer. Couldn't turn around. So we had to disconnect it, and thankfully it's a trailer that we can turn around. It only weighed 3,000 pounds. So we were able to uncouple it, turn it around, drive the vehicle past it. Nice and easy. Don't recommend you drive down here with any trailer, but at least it wasn't that difficult. And they put a barricade here because they don't want to have to maintain this railroad crossing. So you gotta go around it. And the lights are red. There's no train coming at the moment. Although that would be nice to see. Maybe we'll see one on the way out. The snow must have really been melting. Look at those snow banks next to the railroad track around the corner. Wow. The light is red. It would be green if the train was coming. There's another signal for the other direction, which we can't see. Nope, no train. Red in both directions, no train. All right, everyone. So this is the way to the prison. We've got another hour of walking, and because it's been cold out, hopefully the water crossings are frozen. They might be flooded in the morning because it's getting warm out, and it is going to be raining all night, it looks like. But tomorrow, hopefully just scattered showers on the way out. Look at all those telegraph poles falling over in the swamp, probably helped by frost heaves lifting them up. That was kind of fun pulling that across the tracks. I've never done that before. Let's get going. I do hear a train way in the distance, but it's got to be far if the signals aren't saying it's coming. Here's the first water crossing that we're hoping is still frozen on the way back. I'm bringing bear spray. We've both got bear spray in case of coyotes or wolves or something like that out here. Bears, not a problem. They should be in hibernation for a while, although this warmer weather could temporarily send them out. I don't think it's going to be a problem though. And look at that, there's a beaver lodge right there. This place is so much more open in the winter. Also, sound carries further in the winter. No leaves on the trees. There's no humidity to slow it down. Cold weather, noise just moves faster. So we don't know where we're gonna set up. At first we were thinking about setting up inside of one of the jail cells and just using magnets to shut the door and run a little heater in there. But we brought a tent and a heavy sleeping bag, so we don't need a heater, especially in this weather. We don't really want to sleep, if we can help it, in the prison, unless there's snow to set up on top of. We just don't want to stir up and sleep with the asbestos. It's getting harder to walk out here. All the footprints are very deep. In this wide open area, the snow gets softer in the daytime is why. So I do see ourselves 100% tomorrow gonna need snowshoes getting out of here. At the moment, I'm not ready to put them on yet because it's still early in the morning and cool. The regular snowpack can hold me good enough at the moment. What kind of animal tracks do you think this is? Coyote, maybe? As they melt, the tracks always get wider, the holes always get wider. So now we're about to go into a wooded area with a culvert, another one of those really old signs, but this one is 100% illegible. Getting warmer out. I can feel it. You can just hear everything around you starting to thaw. Hey, this is the second one we've seen along the trail. Somebody's making tiny snowmen, and it's very recent because that would have melted in yesterday's temperatures. So I think somebody last night was coming out and made some snowmen. There's some more power poles that were coming out here. I think the prison made its own power, so at this point it may have only been communications. This is getting easier as we go because we're building up our endurance, so this is slowly becoming easier. There's the top of it. Oh, it looks like it would have had insulators for electricity too. There's an old sign, completely delaminated or the paint fell off. The little breeze in the air is actually nice when you're out sweating. We got beaver ponds coming up pretty soon along the trail too. Drainage ditch. There's a drainage ditch over here. These trees are blocking an entire lane. This used to be a 2-lane road at one point. Now we got one hill coming up. That's our last hill that we have to go over. It's going to be a lot easier coming back because it's mostly downhill coming back, we're realizing. Somebody got bored, I think, with their hiking stick and made these swirls all along. Something I would have done as a little kid. I don't carry a hiking stick anymore unless I'm doing some kind of rocky hike. Then it'll help pull myself up over rocks and stuff. And there's the ditch way over there if you can see it. This used to be a big wide open road. They still mow it. The property's actually for sale. $400,000 Canadian. It only comes with 300 acres of the original 36,000 acres. And they had many tens of thousands leased on top of that when it was an open prison. So this place was for low offending criminals that would be very unlikely to want to escape. So say instead of getting a 10-year sentence, they'd come here for up to 2 years max, and they'd help out on the farm with the animals, growing stuff. They could learn an agricultural trade and actually go out into the workforce knowing how to do something, and hopefully they don't recommit the crime. But these days, Canada thinks it's cruel to have prisoners work for free, even though they came here by choice to learn a trade. You know, when you go to a trade school or a college, you got to pay for that. So it seems like they were getting something for free. But today's society doesn't usually agree with that. The sled is actually getting harder to pull because the snow is becoming soft. I can actually pick up some of it now. At the parking lot, it was hard and crunchy. We're starting to melt already. Now we're going up another steep hill. We just keep taking turns with the sled, maybe 10 minutes on and off. Whoop, sinking deep. It's almost time for snowshoes. I just hope we can get to the prison. Ouch.
Sorry.
Okay, the trail now is basically single file. Everyone's using the same footholds. If you go in a straight line, you sink super deep because no one's been there to pack it. It's zigzagging, takes more time, but it's a lot less energy than putting on the snowshoes. And it is starting to get pretty warm out. We brought an actual thermometer, so we'll be able to give temperature readings once we set up camp, preferably on the roof. We're gonna see. The snow does seem like it's getting deeper as we go. That must have been fun with the snowmobile going up and down all those loops. I'm only wearing mittens now because to avoid rope burn on my hands. It's possible snowshoes might be inevitable for today. I'm amazed. Every track turns into the woods and we're nowhere near the prison. Now we're the only set of tracks. Weird. Very strange. There's no one else has gone here. Maybe people are going from a different direction. The river looks like an easy straight shot when it's frozen for a snowmobile. We'll see when we get there. I can't tell if these end there or go up the hill. This is really odd that it goes off the trail. And the only thing here looks like maybe coyote tracks. All right, everyone, it is inevitable. We have to put our snowshoes on. The snow is getting so deep. There's no other tracks to follow at this point. If I step forward, it goes way above my boots. I don't want to flood my boots. I don't want to get snow in my boots. So we both have to put on our snowshoes to continue. It'll make it a little more challenging, but at least we won't sink. So from the railroad tracks, that's the railroad tracks down there. We haven't gone that far. We've only gone less than a quarter of the way to the prison from the tracks. Overall, from the vehicle, we're probably 60% there. You know, there's been times I've been in fluffy snow. I still sink very deep. At least this isn't fluffy. These are made for a 300-pound person. I'm about 190 pounds, and still, I'm glad I got the biggest ones the store sold, especially for some of the weight I carry on my back and the sled. So basically, everyone, look, even with the snowshoes, in certain spots you'll sink. If there's patches of grass, it actually creates a hollow cavity, especially in the fields. If we tried to walk in through these fields, we'd run into some trouble because there's going to be hollow pockets inside all the bushes and stuff where snow fell over it, not through it. And these tracks, I'm thinking at some point come back. Maybe they were trying to avoid this exact thing. Overall, I think they probably made it worse. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe at that time, most of the snow was stuck in the trees. I do expect to see those tracks come back up, maybe around this corner. How are you doing with everything?
Just tightening them.
Okay, so look, I'm not really sinking. I can walk over here nicely, but sometimes if you don't step completely straight, you will sink in. Or, yeah, you're doing a good job right there. It may have been the grass. There may have been hollow cavities. She was sinking in at first. Like, if you want to avoid the grassy areas, if you step near the grass, you're going to sink because there's hollow pockets. I'm amazed. I don't see those tracks in there anymore at all. We're just walking with the coyotes. And the snowshoes seem to be working really good, or we'd be sinking down to at least our knees without them. I'm starting to sink a bit. The snow's getting soft. Okay, we're not seeing human tracks, but these are exciting tracks to see right here. Crossing the trail, going across the field. We've got moose tracks. And we're almost to the top of our last hill. Look at that, everyone. Got some chickadees making some cute noises. So yeah, there are no human tracks. Now we're going down a steep hill. So basically the prison is smack dab on the other side of this mountain here. The trail goes around it to the prison. There's no other tracks. There's older coyote tracks. There's fresher coyote tracks. And there's some tracks that are fresh enough you can even see the nail marks. They're very detailed. And now coyotes will usually leave you alone the majority of the time. But if anyone's seen it, there is footage of somebody else camping here where the coyotes are actually circling the tent and harassing the person, where they had to move their tent onto the roof. We might camp on the roof regardless, but in case of coyotes, we again both have bear spray. We also have in here like 24 Roman candles, if you know what that is. It's a firework that fires a ball that explodes with a really loud bang, which I'm sure we can use to scare away the coyotes, or even fire them at the coyotes in an emergency if we encountered a problem like this person did on YouTube. It was a scary video if anyone wants to look that one up. Yeah, you see these fresher tracks right here? That was not a dog walking with somebody. That's probably a coyote, or in northern Ontario, they have actual wolves, which you gotta be careful of. The wolves are probably more dangerous than the bears or anything else that could be out here. But even a bear, probably even a grizzly bear, if you fire a gun or a firework, that bang is going to scare most things away. So that's why we made sure to bring things that are loud. Oh cool, I just realized that these mittens, I can control my touchscreen with them on. I'm providing a little bit of tension right now because the hill's not really steep enough for us to be completely on the back end, but I'm stopping it from running over her ankles because it's slightly steep. Yeah, the snow seems to be getting deeper and deeper as we get closer to the prison. Nothing but coyote tracks. That's kind of cool. Typically we would go to these public places like this to go camping on a weekday. This is a Friday night and it's going to be warmer out, so that means we could have visitors here. I don't think they'll stay overnight, but also tonight's supposed to get very windy with heavy rain, so more reasons I think we'll probably be alone. We want to set up on the roof so we have a good line of sight, so we're fully aware of who is there. We're going to search the entire building as soon as we get there. We're going to try to carry this. We're each going to take an end through the prison hallways and bring it up to the second floor. Then there's a very narrow staircase where we can't bring this up. We're going to make different trips just going up that one set of stairs. Then we'll ultimately bring our sled up top for the unlikely possibility that somebody will steal it. There's one of the coyote tracks veering off. That could be Raccoon. They're very close together. But we are still being followed by these definite coyote tracks. Maybe wolf. They're pretty big. All right, it's time for us to switch off. The snow is now softer around this corner. It also, you can see around the trees, it's extremely deep. Now we're probably dealing with a lot more snow than we have anywhere else. probably snow drifting. We're between two valleys. It probably started collecting down here during the winter when it was blowing around a lot. So now I'm gonna pull a bit. All right, everyone. At the beginning of the video, I wasn't 100% sure what to think of this because I know down south in my area, everything's starting to melt. We're considerably further north here, not exactly as high elevation as where I live, but this area is not thawing. This area is frozen solid. This is the beaver area. You see right here, there's some sunken areas here. Wide open beaver pond over there. You can see the beaver's lodge right in the center of the screen. So it is warmer today. We are expecting heavy rain. I think at the very most, and I don't even think this is going to happen, there'll be water rushing over the top of the ice. No big deal. This is definitely not going to thaw out in the next day. This is very, very frozen from these Canadian winters. And there's even another beaver lodge way down there. This area's got some active beavers. In the summertime, this road is flooded. There's a couple more floods along the way. And this trail seems a lot longer now because we can no longer see that massive hill. It's longer than it looks from the top of the hill. In this area, we're sinking a lot more because there's a lot of grass. This is a very overgrown area in the summer. The snow is deeper than the grass, but the grass is creating hollow pockets, which are causing some issues here. There's a lot of grassy areas. In fact, the trail is pretty grassy up until the prison, so we're gonna be dealing with these sunken spots today, even more so tomorrow on the way back. Boom. All right, I think it's my turn to go ahead. Look at this, while taking a pee break, we found a dead shrew. Died out here in the snow. That could have happened months ago in the middle of winter. And it's just melting down because it's dark in color. It'll be owl food eventually when they find it. All right, everyone, so now we have just come up to the second area of Beaver Swamp, which is definitely flooded, but it's frozen over and we got some deep snow, so I don't think we'll have to deal with that one bit. We've now been walking exactly 2 hours. At this pace, I think we got another 30 minutes of walking. Looking at the map, we're about 75% of the way there. From the train tracks, we're a little more than halfway there. The snowmobiles have a little bit of a detour. The only other track is not human. I do see faint snowmobile tracks, but that had to have been weeks ago. We've been having a lot of melting. Yeah, you can see right there, that water was liquid and it refroze. This is the area where the big flood is because the beavers have a dam. The pond is actually higher than the road and it leaks into the road, making it very wet. You know, something out here smells like grapes or prunes. Yeah, it smells like a bad fart out here. I don't know what is making this smell. If we were here in summer, this is a very wet, overgrown part of trail. Ooh. Ooh, there's actually a thin layer of ice cracking, and look at the water spreading. Ooh. Yep, this could get bad if there's a lot of rain tomorrow. We'll have to maybe walk up here. Right as we were about to pull off, we've got a friend in the trail. It's a grouse bird. The same type of bird I almost ran over in the middle of the road last night coming in here. They're kind of like a small chicken or basically like a quail. Oh, I just stopped. This guy just ran across the trail. And there's two of them. There's the other one over there that we saw run across earlier from far away. And this one's putting on a show. Looks like we have a mating ritual going on here. This is cool. Unlike chicken tracks, look how their footprints, even though this guy just ran across the trail. No, actually, that's the one that ran, the other track. But look how they just interlock each foot into a continuous line. All right, everyone, a little brief inconvenience here. They make things these days so cheap. Just by walking, the little bracket here that's supposed to hold this strap has snapped. It's made out of cheap plastic here. It's supposed to hold it like this. Now, without it, this thing can't stay secure. But thankfully, I still have zip ties from when we were camping with alligators in the south. Thankfully, we have lots of zip ties with us, because every time she takes these off, she's probably going to have to replace at least that one. This one is holding tightly so it doesn't come out of that hole. This one's just holding the slack. Honestly, another time I think we should just cut the slack off, because it's not a material it's going to fray. What I believe happened is, as she's walking, she stepped on this, breaking that piece of plastic off. Is what I think happened. So when we get to the prison and we have extra time, we're not doing anything that needs to be snipped. That's interesting. Was that bugs? A woodpecker? What made all those holes? I think we probably will be at the prison in 15 minutes. This must have happened right before winter. The beavers have knocked down a couple moderate-sized trees, and there's a whole bunch of other ones that they've cut down and taken, maybe as a food reserve over the winter. But right next to us is another beaver pond with a massive dam coming up. Whatever these footprints are from, it looks like it apparently jumped, or maybe a snow drift covered the tracks. So right here, this beaver pond, there's the lodge, the beavers that are cutting down those trees. There's the dam, slightly below capacity. If you were standing out there in that field, way out there, you could see the prison around the corner. Yeah, we have considerable sinkage going on, but it would be way worse without the snowshoes. And we have to lift up straight, we have to march. If we don't march, that's how you break things on the snowshoes, trying to force them forward. And this does burn a lot more energy. Even here in the shade, we're sinking. At least we're getting close. Got a new method now. Instead of pulling, pushing it. It's getting a little more difficult. We're burning a lot more energy now that we're in an area that's grassy and we're sinking with every step. At first glance, you might think there was a culvert pipe here or a little bridge that failed, but no. They dug these mounds and made a huge ditch to stop ATVs and snowmobiles from going through here. It's just too steep. But they forgot what an ATV is meant for. People just made a route here around it that we're going to take right now. We have the bungee cords so we can go down steep things like that. I just don't think it's worth the hassle of this minute-long detour. And then there's another one of these up here that has more like a 5-minute detour around it, but it's better than having everything fall out of the sled down the ditch. So these areas in the summer, despite ATVs using it, there's still a lot of grass. And the grass has a lot of hollow cavities underneath. I think right here is the best spot. Right here is way, way too steep. So as I go down, it's not doing too well. Gotta be careful. Just let it go. That was easier than slowing down all that weight. Grab onto it again. Start pulling the load back up. That's why snowshoes have very big cleats to grab onto the snow when you're climbing like this. And that is quite the load going up this hill. All right. Back around to the trail, avoiding the big ditch. Right here we have another large beaver dam, which is a little bit below capacity. Some kind of animal walked across it, probably a raccoon. I don't think it was a coyote because the tracks are so close together. Honestly, maybe 5 more minutes we'll get a first glimpse of the prison. Yeah, that's a sheer drop on that side. This was the smart choice, not going around. And there's a rough trail around the edge of that. If we were here in the summer, I could barely pull that up out of that. Never mind this almost 90-degree angle up and out. And I think I would have lost control of it if I tried to bring it around there. We've reached the next barricade. We got to see if we have to actually go all the way down there like we did in the summer, or if we can come up here. What does it look like? I don't think we have to take the detour on this one. I think we can just let the sled go down there, and I think I can pull it back up without a problem. The prison's literally right there. Back in the day, this was a barn. You still see some structures. If you look at it with satellite images in the summertime, there's massive foundations there. Huge buildings used to exist here. Barns, farms, all kinds of stuff. Everything was erased from history except the one prison. There was a whole community, a bigger prison building, all kinds of stuff here back in the day. All right, we got to push up the sled, and we're just gonna let it go down into the ditch. Woo! Should be easy to pull it up the other side. Oh, we had to get it back up here, which was so hard to refilm that shot because the camera wasn't going. Oh my gosh, there's one of the last remaining buildings, and now it's time. We have arrived to the prison. Huge, huge building. Wow. We've got to search it and make sure we're alone. People just aren't making the trek out here since the hike is so long. We are now pretty much over 3 hours in now. So 3 hours, 20 minutes it took to walk here. Quite the walk. And I think it's going to take longer to get out of here because the trail is going to be a slushy mess on the way out. Okay, so there's a few observations before we go in. I can't tell if that's a snow drift up on the roof or if people piled snow to get up there. Second observation, the corner office where the guard would have been is boarded up. That was not boarded up a couple months ago during our summer camp. There could be someone in there right now staying there, or somebody put the plywood up so they could camp there without the wind. There may or may not be someone in there, probably not, but we need to search this entire building before we set up camp so we know that we're alone and safe. If there's no footprints from either direction when we get there, we will assume that we're alone, but we have to search the entire building, even the basement. We don't know if it's flooded. We also need to search for things like bears, because it looks like a lot of people don't come here. There could be something hibernating in the basement. If it's flooded, we're not even going to try going down there, but it is a great possibility. We also are observing that window is a lot more smashed open than it was last time. A little bit closer, the wind sure is whipping. There's no snow on the roof, except where it's blocked by the building. I think most of it has blown off. So if we were to walk around and do our rounds of looking at the horizon, I don't think we need the snowshoes on the roof. Over here, there's a bit more piled up because it's blocked by the other building. Where they have it boarded up, only the front's boarded up. Maybe they were blocking light so people couldn't see that you're camping in there. Maybe just blocking the wind, one or the other. Okay, we're almost to the front door. We're about to officially know if there's any other fresh human tracks, because there's nothing from this direction except coyotes. That's all that is. Here's the old pickup truck. I don't know if we're gonna snowshoe down to the river, but in the summer, if you walk down the road another 10 minutes, there's a large river where we went swimming and took baths. There's also another fairly large building, which was the water treatment and the prison's massive well, which has a ladder going down deep into it. Here's the front door, and we may have got lucky. I don't see any human tracks entering the building at all. Last time we were here, camping on the roof was an amazing experience because you can see on the horizon, you can at night see people's flashlights. You have a lot of warning before people get here. Looking down at the ground, not recent in the past day or two, but there are coyote tracks going right in the front door. Every track you see, there's got to be at least a dozen sets here that are concentrating into a narrow trail right into the building. There's a lot of coyotes that go in here. Hopefully we don't find them sleeping somewhere. Hopefully they just leave us alone. That's what we're hoping for. Hopefully we don't find a sleeping bear. I can't believe how few people actually come here in the winter months. It's unbelievable that we're alone. Okay. First look in the building. Everything is coyote tracks going in here, so we don't really like to see that. There's snow. Oh my gosh, there's so much ice in here. All right, everyone. Time to take the snowshoes off. Add them to this, and we're gonna try carrying this through the hallway upstairs, try to get to the roof. We don't need the snowshoes anymore, so we're gonna go ahead and get these off. It's gonna be warm out today all night. It'll give some of our stuff a chance to dry off. Okay, one of them's off. And second one's off finally, because this uses so much energy walking around like that. Just gonna cram them in the sled. So here's our first look inside. Like I said, this week was a lot warmer earlier, and it froze. Last night was cold. Yeah, this is not liquid water. This is a skating rink. I can't wait to see what the basement and other rooms look like. Look at this, there's snow in here. If we find a cell that has snow, maybe we'll set up on top of it because we're worried about the asbestos. But if we have this, we might not have to be as concerned. Look down here, look at that. Those are 100% raccoon tracks. See those little hands? Every single time we come here, the building is more vandalized. Literally, people bring sledgehammers out just to destroy these places further. A lot of this isn't natural decay. Some of the facade, once it starts moving, kids will grab it in a team and push it off. We've seen it. Okay, I am seeing a ton of raccoon tracks, only a couple coyote tracks, someone else's footprints. This actually, I'm happier that it's raccoons because I don't think it'll be as big of a deal. Oh wow, look at all the ice in the hallways. Snow's definitely getting in these rooms. But I'm happier that it's not as much coyotes. Outside you can't really tell. Like I said, when things step and it melts, the holes get bigger from the footprints. All right, no more ice for now. But now we gotta try to get this thing up 2 flights of stairs, and then the 3rd flight of stairs. We can't get up the 3rd flight of stairs. It's so narrow, we're not even gonna fit through the door with the sled. It'll have to be sideways, unloaded. But we're gonna find our way up now to the roof. What do you think? Should we search this place at all before? I think anything that's gonna be in here is likely animals, because there's no human footprints. Want to just leave this here for a moment and take a round?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a garden hose, that's new. We have massive flashlights if we want to walk around at night. Wow, this place really is a skating rink. But it's good to know the snow coming in and melting has basically encapsulated dust on the floor. So if anyone was to sleep in here, they likely wouldn't have a problem with the asbestos dust. Just looking at the crevices in the floor, I thought maybe they were footprints. I kind of just want to look at that barricaded room where someone was staying. Most of the furniture you find in here is not from the prison. That's the only original bed. I can't believe no one stole it for scrap. But most of the furniture, you're going to see a couch up here, unless someone moved it, is not from the prison, which shut down in the 70s. So here's this room where someone was probably camping. Good, there's no one here now. But yeah, they probably barricaded that up so the wind can't come in here, because that wasn't boarded up on our last trip. That couch looks kind of old. That could have gone to the prison, but I know for a fact the storm door is not 70s or older. These pressboard cabinets, I don't think are 70s or older. None of this stuff is. It is very nice in here. There's no wind. So that's got to be exactly why they would have barricaded this room off. And these jeans might actually be good fabric if we wanted to make some torches in the night. When we're walking around here at night, when the coyotes become active, we're going to have fireworks on us that we can light at a moment's notice and scare anything away. I do believe if anything was hibernating in here, it would be in the basement, in some sort of crevice. I don't know, though, if a bear would choose a place like this. I don't think it's very cozy, honestly. So I think low risk, but possible. Just very curious. I saw the trees blowing. We're pretty sure no one else is here, but not 100%. That goes down to the basement. When we were here in the summertime or closer to the fall, we had apples. I ate a couple dozen apples being here. That was nice. Let's try going upstairs. I bet there's going to be even more water. Oh, guess we're going to look at the locker room first. I think there's going to be more ice on the 2nd floor. Look at the roof drain is broken. Got lots of icicles in there. We'll explore the basement levels afterwards. Oh yeah, the vandals were in here. These windows were not smashed open that wide the last time we were here. Kids bring sledgehammers out. That's exactly what this is. There's a sewage treatment plant before dumping it back into the river. So they dump it into the river, then it trickles past where their well is. Doesn't it seem like the building should be set up a little bit backwards? I guess there's enough distance between them. Yep. This was not here the last time we were here, and you notice there's no moisture that would have done this. The vandalism has really taken off in only the past year since we've been here. This, I believe, is our 4th visit. Every time, except one time, we've filmed the entire thing. Now we got some more views over here. Oh, the swing is still here. Now we're overlooking the boiler building. Wow, those dark structures conduct a lot of heat from the sun, so the water around them is liquefied already. I was thinking over here would be good for sledding, but the snow is just too deep. We'd have to keep taking the snowshoes on and off. So they got a perfect hill there leading down to the stream that's coming from all those beaver ponds. Okay, it's a very good possibility we might camp here. We have a good line of sight. We're in the direction most people would be coming from. Because it's warmer, I think most people wouldn't want to use the river. They wouldn't take that risk with their snowmobile. So I think we might actually set up here. There's not a lot of dust. We'll set the tent up. I don't think we'll rip it at all on what is in here. There's definitely 100% lead paint. I'm not really concerned about that. And as far as the asbestos, there could have been some around the radiators. I don't see much piping in here, so it's not like we're sleeping in the furnace room. This is a good possibility. We did not bring a tarp, but that's okay. We actually did also think about bringing a tarp with a bunch of magnets and just closing off one of the rooms. The tent would fit in one of these rooms, but we'd also have to do a lot of cleaning because every single room there's debris everywhere. Literally every room has a smashed toilet. This very sharp ceramic. Well, here's still one of the cell doors. Oh, the cell doors were made of wood. They were not very dangerous criminals here, so they had wooden doors. This goes over to the offices, which you have to go up the staircase right where we came in. Right here's the gym. We can take a peek at this. Because we're just experimenting right now, seeing where we could set up camp. This is where we set our tent up last time, right there. Perfect line of sight. You see how the facade is pulling away a bit? Kids will grab that and push it off. I think that was actually there, that part of it, when we camped last. This courtyard over here is actually beautiful with the overgrown Christmas trees in it. Those grow fast. They probably weren't here when the prison was last active. This goes back downstairs, also goes down to the basement. We'll explore later. Look how rusty that is. Actually looks cool in fine detail. Nice. So the way onto the roof, we might go up to the roof and just take a peek at it now, or maybe wait until later. So this door is kind of narrow. Then there's a super narrow door. The stairs are right there. Sharp corner. Wow. I'm actually super amazed that above the gym and auditorium room, there's no leaks. There's no ice. There's a whole ton of raccoon tracks, though, absolutely everywhere. So we have to keep them in mind when we're camping, because they're going to be hungry. If we have any food or wrappers that are open, we're going to leave them somewhere else in the building and take them with us in the morning. Very surprised that there's no leaks, because this floor is actually soft when you're walking around up there. You see how a lot of the rafters are twisted because of extreme snow on certain years. Those can hold a train. Those are never going to break. But these parts will break because it's thin, reinforced concrete. I don't even think it's reinforced. I think the metal decking is actually what's reinforcing it. At one point, there was a beautiful hardwood floor. See the pattern? When you have hardwood floor with teeny little pieces, it takes forever to assemble it. So it actually costs a lot more money when you do stuff like that. Over here was the barber shop, or maybe the barber shop was the little room in there. That looks more like a locker room, but there was a barber shop. Up there was the movie projector. For nights the prisoners would watch movies or something. And go in here, we got a couple of urinals. I guess we can go up onto the roof. This would have been closed off, but vandals have smashed it. Now this is the barber shop right here. There would have been a wall in the middle dividing it too. Heavy metal door. Somewhere it actually does say projection room. It says barber shop right there. And this says the roof, there it is, projection room behind the graffiti. Now we've got to get this door out of the way. You see how it would have been difficult to get the sled up here. It wouldn't have gone around these corners. But now we're thinking about not even camping on the roof. This would also be a good place to possibly camp. But the real reasoning for the roof camp would be trying to avoid animals. We gotta be careful here not to fall off the roof. We gotta make good footholds. This is definitely a snow drift. It's very solid. There's barely any snow over on that roof. It's just right here. Can we see up here over the auditorium? Yep, there's lots of grass up here. Notice around the grass, the snow's deeper. That's because the wind is unable to blow it away from that. The rest of the roof only has a couple inches, while there's a couple feet around the grass. If you look at satellite maps, there's also a pond up here. The roof drains aren't working properly. You'll notice the trees on the roof, how they're synchronized, how they're even. They're growing out of roof drains that are semi-clogged. Now this part of the roof we don't have any fear walking on because this is very thick reinforced concrete, built differently. So maybe this might still be the place to set up camp up on the roof. The snow is barely deep there. The snow is also, it's gonna be more comfortable sleeping instead of the concrete floor. And I'd personally feel safer up here from the coyotes. I don't see any tracks at all from downstairs. Oh, on the horizon, that's where the well is and the water treatment for the building. And way, way down there is the river. Okay, here's the view of the auditorium from the projection room. Now we're gonna have to flip a coin over this. I wanna be on the roof. She wants to be in that second floor room, so we are gonna have to flip a coin at some time. I feel safer being on the roof, and it will be more comfortable setting up on top of the snow over there. I like the roof because there's absolutely zero evidence of animals coming up here. In the second floor, there's raccoon tracks absolutely everywhere, and I don't like that. The raccoon's not going to want to be near us, but if we're sleeping and they smell food, even though we're going to throw our wrappers somewhere far away, I don't want to have to deal with that in the middle of the night. So we're going to flip a coin, and that's going to decide if we're going on the roof or we're going to be on the second floor. So over here, I think this may have been used as a gym, but this I think is the actual gym. That's what I'm thinking. Ooh, I hear a ton of water coming off the roof as the day gets warmer. Now, a room like this, I would not want to be sleeping in because there's dust everywhere. There's sharp stuff everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. There's stuff. These would have been bathrooms or showers, locker rooms, stuff like that. I know people have slept in here, but this is asbestos flooring. I'm sure there was pipes that people knocked asbestos off of. You could even see someone's fire pit right there. I don't want to do that. Look at the water. I expect the basement to be flooded, or at least have water flowing through it. Yeah, look at all the fresh water. And see, the ice is thin because it didn't completely freeze over from last night, because yesterday was fairly warm also. Yeah, look at that. This might be a designated roof drain, and someone just stole the cast iron pipe for scrap. That might be why it's coming in. Here's the freight elevator shaft leading down to the basement. That elevator might have water in it. It might be flooded. This is the perfect skating rink. Honestly, this would be a good spot to set up camp if it was frozen, because that encapsulates any asbestos dust. Back in the day, they even put asbestos in the plaster, the concrete, because it adds strength. They didn't know about what it does. Ooh, look at this. There's an icy waterfall down the stairs. And that goes back into the auditorium. Okay, we gotta be very careful here. This is sheer ice with no railing. I'm not even gonna go there. But carefully go down the stairs. Yeah, be very careful. That plaster grit actually helps. Just be very, very slow going down this waterfall. Ooh, wow, look at this waterfall. It's frozen going all the way down to the basement. Look at that beautiful trickling water. The roof above us is dry though. I can't believe that the condition of that roof, it's not leaking anywhere. All this water is coming from a drain. Okay, this is gonna get a little harder there because it's more of a ramp. It had more time to freeze. There's not as much thawing going on, and there's no railing. Okay, do you want to go down this?
No.
Yeah, we're gonna turn around and take a different stairwell. I don't think that's worth us falling, but we'll get a view of it once we're down there. I think we should go a different way. It's a little bit scary how much ice, because down there it's slanted like a ramp. And it's only gonna get worse. Next week is gonna be below freezing again. Everything here is gonna flash freeze again. Even worse with the rain coming. But look how dry the roof is here. Maybe there's a couple of leaks. The holes though in the roof have gotta be frozen shut. Okay, these stairs are a lot better. They're dry. There are fresh raccoon tracks though. This is a part of the building that doesn't get any sun, but I don't see any water damage or evidence that water comes down here. Here's the courtyard. All we have is raccoon tracks going out there, going down to the basement. It doesn't look flooded, at least at this point. It could all still be frozen shut. Okay, good, no one messed with our stuff. Raccoon tracks, mostly. Not many coyote tracks. Now this is the lunchroom. Cafeteria, go through here. The bathroom. You see all the urinals in here. Bunch of other small rooms. Don't know what this room might have been. Right here we have a beautiful spiral staircase going up in here into a spot where the guards could overlook the inmates. Yep, right there would have been a correctional officer looking down at the cafeteria. You see, you got this gigantic cooking hood right over the stove. It would have sucked out all the steam. Huge. They had a massive stove right here. A bicycle. Someone had a fire there trying to burn their tent poles. It doesn't look like it burned very well. Those aren't the fiberglass ones like my tent has. Actually, I think my current tent is made out of PVC poles, so that actually would have burned. Right here's all the clean outs to get the dust out of the ducts. Pantry space. Huge walk-in freezers. Here's one of the ovens. Here's the elevator shaft. I hear a lot of water down there dripping. Was this hole here last time? It must have been, but it looks more damaged. Another huge walk-in. The loading dock. Another good spot to camp, and a lot of people have by the evidence, but you have no view of who could be coming. Here's the elevator. Okay, here's the bottom of the stairs. Yep, look at that. You see how much more dangerous this is? There's not even crud to get traction on, and it's so tilted, and it's all going down to the basement. I don't see a severe flood. The basement drains might be working. Now we're gonna come over here. Another portion of cafeteria. They have massive ovens and stuff down here. If you notice, this building has lots of different bullet holes and there's shell casings everywhere. Some people come here to target practice, but also the military and the police use these buildings at certain times of the year. That's why I was a little concerned at first, and we had to ask if it was okay to come down here because sometimes the military will be out here doing training. That's why there's bullet holes all over the buildings. Partially, some private people also come here and do practice. There's a big pantry room full of shelves. There's some kind of conveyor right here. I don't know if it was a waffle making machine or what exactly the conveyor was doing. We also have, oh, this whole area smells like someone took a dump in here. It's awful. But this thing turns, and there was a little bit of an argument about this. Some people were telling me it's an industrial clothes dryer. Some people were telling me it's an oven. I really don't know exactly what this thing is. It was made in Toronto. I'm not 100% sure what any of this is, if it's laundry or if it's cooking. But right here was also the gigantic, another walk-in freezer, it looks like. What do you think? Could those be industrial clothes dryers? I honestly don't think it is, because there's a bunch of racks that spin around in there. I don't know, I've never seen anything like it. All right, neither of us have a coin. Actually, I have a coin that got run over by a train years ago in my pocket I carry for good luck. If we can even tell which side is heads, we'll flip that. Here's the waterfall. And we'll have to go to the boiler room too later. You have to go through the basement to get there, or go outside in the deep snow. And the snow between these wings is incredibly deep because the sun doesn't really get in there to help melt it out. I guess we have to flip a coin. Let's get to a solid floor area. And we'll have to use a coin I have that was run over by a train quite a few years ago. For anyone who doesn't know, trains have so much pressure against the rail, it'll flatten coins. Oh wow, look at the amount of lead paint that's just shedding off the walls, and it's on top of the snow. See that greenish color paint from up here? We're gonna have to flip the only coin I have, which is a $2 coin. Okay, I can clearly see what side is heads and what side's tails. So heads, we go onto the roof. Tails, we bring this just to the second floor. So tail side up, is that how we're doing it?
Tail side up.
Whatever side's up is the decision, right?
Yep.
Heads is the roof. Tails, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna stay inside with the raccoons and coyotes. I don't like that, but I'm gonna keep fireworks on me at all times to scare something away. And I got my bear spray. So it looks like we gotta lug this up to just the second floor. Then we will explore the last cell block, the last wing that we didn't go in. And then we'll venture in the basement before it gets too dark and scary and look for bears. All right, everyone. It's a lot lighter to carry upstairs with the backpacks on. All right, going upstairs. It would actually be really cool, but we don't do this very often. If this had like some kind of wheels that we could clip on it, you know, like constantly have a track that you could just put them into for walking through places like this. You could just pick it up like a suitcase. I'm sure they make something like that. That would come in handy for stuff like this, because we're not going to just drag it through the halls, because what you're doing is you're scratching up the bottom of it, which gives it more resistance when it's in the snow, making everything more difficult. And they do sell wax specifically for these and snowmobiles and for skis to make them move much better. But I haven't had that issue yet because this isn't a very old sled. I've had it for 3 years, but it only gets used a couple times a year on camping trips. This might be the furthest we've ever walked with it. I did one year about 6 miles. This could be close to that. I'm just thinking about it. It's possible about that. Carrying this around is not that bad when you don't have the stairs, and who knows, maybe we can take this staircase down on our way out. We got stairs right here. Right, we're heading into the room. This building is somewhat creepy. The wind blowing through the corridors makes whistling sounds that can sometimes sound like voices. We have dripping water here. Look at that. When we were summer camping, we were actually right next to this. This vent goes up to the roof, and it's like a dangerous place. Someone could fall all the way down to the basement through it. Now that we're in here, we're gonna set up camp. We have about 4 more hours of daylight before it gets dark. Now, down south, we gained over an hour of daylight just by driving this far north, which is kind of cool. So we're gonna set up here, remove any sharps. We're not gonna sweep anything. We don't wanna stir the dust up. The tent will be completely washed when we get home. I think this room is more low risk of asbestos. There's definitely lead paint. That's not as big of a issue because we're not sweeping or anything in here. Definitely wouldn't have set up shop in a place like the auditorium. It's such a dusty, nasty room. But here we got a good view of anyone that might come in. Flashlights on the horizon. I can definitely see one potential problem for the overnight hours, but we should be fine. We're in a tent. Rain could bounce on this, and this area could potentially flood, but it doesn't matter. Actually, I can see exactly where it has flooded during rainstorms. I think it's okay. We can wash everything when we get back. I think that's okay. So I think now we'll do a time lapse of setting up tent. I just hope there's nothing that'll rip it. We have some signs of spring. Look at that. We have a fly friend walking around right there in the warmer weather. We also had patches of green grass every now and then in the areas where there's no snow. All right, everyone. First thing we're gonna do is set the tent up. So everyone, supposedly this is a one-person tent. If you saw the video of me sleeping on that 8-story building abandoned on the mountain, that was the smallest tent I've seen in my life. I could barely fit in it. But this one, 2 people can fit in it without the gear. We'll just put the sled next to it with all our stuff in it. But we gotta keep fireworks and bear spray, anything in the tent to defend ourselves in case the rare chance something does happen with the raccoons or whoever. All right, everyone, now that we got it set up, I actually intentionally bought this tent for cold weather camping because it has no windows, a very small vent at the top. I bought it for that reason, but yet I've only used it in Florida so far. So here's a good test of it. Now we gotta get the sleeping bag in there and we're off to explore the building after lunch. All right, everyone, we're concerned about this puddle slowly getting bigger, so we're gonna move to the slightly higher piece of floor. Let's just get some of the little chunks of concrete out of here. Anything that can be sharp because the sleeping bag is not that thick. Look at that, this thing is so light. I think we'll be alone tonight, hopefully. All right, we got the sleeping bag out. It's a little bit wet from snow getting in it during our walk-in, that's okay. Okay, and we have a whole bunch of these Roman candles here. So these things, you're not supposed to do it, but you can hold these in your hands and fire them like a gun. They'll fire 10 rounds, and they're extremely loud in case there's any coyotes. That's what we'll be using them for, as a deterrent. But of course, we'll probably use a pack of them just for fun. We also bought sparklers on the way up here. So this 2-person sleeping bag almost completely spreads out in this supposed 1-person tent. Not sponsored by any of these products in any way, but there's the name of it if you want to look it up on Amazon. This is much better than the Walmart tents. Much better quality, in my opinion. Oh, there we go. That came out when we were building the tent. One of the poles wasn't connected. There we go. So, we're just about set up. I'm honestly not hungry. I've only had an energy drink and a Gatorade today. I haven't had anything else. But we have a ton of meat sticks in here. We have more bunch of water, some canned foods, little stove, and a bunch of other stuff. All right, everyone, it's getting a little windy in this room, but thankfully I brought earplugs because the flapping of the tent is something that'll actually keep me awake. So now we have 2 of the world's brightest flashlights, 200,000 lumens. They're bright enough, they will light up this entire field, so we don't want to waste the entire battery right now in the basement, but I think we should explore the basement before it gets dark. These things are so powerful, you have to click it 5 times because it was locked out. Because if it's in your backpack and you accidentally turn it on, first off, that sucks. You're gonna show up and your battery's dead. Second, these things get hot enough to start a fire. These are extremely hot in cold weather. I love holding these things. They're extremely hot flashlights. They'll go about 20 minutes on high, about 3 hours on 10%, 300 hours supposedly on low, although I've never done that. But low on these is still better than the average Walmart flashlight. I think we better take off now. And I do think I'm gonna put my jacket on after all. Okay, so far, the weather forecast was spot on. Look at that. We are now about 48 degrees or 9 degrees Celsius outside right now. I do expect it to get a little warmer, and it's gonna pretty much stay warm all night. Be the same weather tomorrow. Now we are going to head off to the basement. So we're gonna bring a few of these down to the basement just in case we had to scare an animal away. You have to peel off most of these to get to the fuse, which takes a few seconds, so we have pre-opened them in case we need to use them as animal deterrent. This stuff, if we saw an animal way down there starting to walk towards us, we could fire it down there, and it basically fires a flaming ball that goes boom, and it's super loud. So I feel like these are a perfect deterrent for animals. I think maybe this is probably the best way to start our route down to the basement. Maybe route through the wing we didn't go to yet. And these things here, Canada's actually thinking about banning Roman candles because, like I said, you can hold them and irresponsible parents allow their kids to fire them at each other, these exploding balls. That's the reason they're planning on maybe banning them. But they're still available, thankfully, for now. They're very fun, but you got idiots, and you got bigger idiots who make these things illegal because of an idiot. So basically, they're idiot-proofing the world, which is ridiculous. Okay, this is the opposite end of the building from where we are staying. This is the last cell block that we didn't explore. We haven't been below us either. I can't wait to shine these flashlights out over the fields at night. The snow is going to illuminate everything, and it looks like it's not going to start raining until early morning hours. So we'll be able to explore all night without the wind. Down here's another locker room, just like the other end had. Dripping water. Broken or missing roof drain pipes. Looked like the sewer was still intact. See, the vandals have been going crazy. That looks like it would probably be a lot of fun to smash, and the kids did it. They smashed just about everything in here. And here's a beautiful view of the old well building. The river's down there. Some more foundations and structures. So the showers are actually beneath us. This was a shower, maybe a bathroom. That was definitely a shower. So back up, this one was probably a toilet. And there was heavy doors. These are like basically solitary confinement showers. And these were the solitary confinement cells for people that were acting very bad. You see there was bars in there, which would prevent the prisoner from being able to smash the glass. The glass is here so you can look in at them. It's also a sound barrier in case somebody just won't be quiet. That's what these look like to me. And there's more of them down here. So I forgot, the shower rooms are on the first level. The solitary cells are on the second level, just like the other wing over there. Very symmetrical building except for the boilers. And there's tunnels, there's hallways underneath here for shortcuts. It makes the boiler system more efficient at going straight over here than following the hallways. Got a lot of dripping water. It's getting warm out. So there's where we were. The potentially a laundry room or oven room, whatever those big things are. The snow's a lot deeper in the courtyards because it's been drifting in here from the roof. Okay, another stairwell that is completely dry. That's where we're trying to go right now. We want to be down there. That's the steam tunnels, but this is not a way down there unless we crawled through there. Okay, a lot of water leaking out of here. Oh wow, look at the size of that icicle in here. Nice. So that's the toilet pipe with that icicle coming out. Where the water's actually coming from is the roof drain, which is still functioning perfectly, but the pipe is missing. So the basement, I bet, is gonna have a lot of ice. It's gonna be a lot of fun down there. Okay, here's the other shower room where people didn't destroy the wall like on the other wing. Vandalism is bad here because there's actually a major city not too far away. But it looks like those people don't make a point of coming out here when it's snowy. Ooh, look at all this firewood somebody nicely collected. Yeah, they got kindling, they got everything there. Someone's gonna end up robbing them of that. We don't have an interest in starting a fire though. Look at the beautiful moss in this room. That's not carpet. And then over here on the other side, this pile of debris is acting like a dam, holding in a small flood. A lot more ice. Somewhere there's a room that is bright green. If my memory is correct, it's in this last hallway here that we haven't explored yet. Maybe it's greener during the summer months, but these rooms are pretty green right now. This might have been it. This probably greens up when the weather's nice. Look at this. This is the world's most uncomfortable bed. And yeah, that's probably a good idea keeping it up there so someone doesn't step on that. This moss is beautiful. I think this may have been the room. Look at the floors just being taken over by the moss. Or algae, whatever you want to call it. So this is the last section of building. We have now been everywhere except the scary basement, which we're about to go to. Oh, actually, we haven't been to the office buildings. The snow's been drifting heavily into here, and maybe even into the steam tunnels, which, is that what's down there, or is that just a radiator bay? Yeah, it's just a radiator bay. That doesn't actually go through like the other stairwell. Okay, this is a dark, scary office. Oh, yeah, or a coat room. Maybe a coat room for guests. Wow, look at the ice on the ceiling. Wow, look at all that frost. There's no leakage, that's just frost. Heavy, heavy frost, like the kind of frost you would see in a walk-in freezer. Look at that up close. Look at all that frost. Wow. And this was a pretty slippery hallway to get down. Wow, look at that ice. Now it's time to basement time. This is where we just walked with the sled. But we're going down instead. Maybe the way to snow, maybe vandalism. This I don't believe was collapsing as much last time. Now we're going down into the scary basement, which does have raccoon tracks. A whole ton of raccoon tracks. Thankfully, raccoons usually live in trees. They probably only come down here at night, but we don't know. There's a lot of raccoon tracks, some very fresh, some not so fresh. Okay, this is ice. Hopefully it's solid enough to hold us across. It is. Yeah, that is very solid ice. Be careful, it's slippery. Mostly raccoon tracks. This actually makes it very pleasant because this is usually super flooded. Does anyone know what this thing is? I don't know what that is either. Now that is asbestos. You don't want to stir that up. The ice actually makes this place considerably safer to explore because the asbestos is kept at bay. And look at these holes filled in with ice. Those are actually quite deep. Here's a dead end. Okay. Ooh, scary. Not much in there though. This is not where we exactly want to be at the moment. This is actually where we want to go first. This type of stuff. We can actually make a big circle from the boiler room, so now we're going underneath the cell block. We will circle through the steam tunnel to the boiler room, and we can come back through that door I just showed you through. This is the extra brick and stuff from the prison in case they needed to make repairs. I bet you that was in a perfect stack, a nice pallet. Kids and vandals have destroyed it. Other people have had the same idea. Look at that. Look how thick that is. You can see by the cracks. Yeah, that is frozen solid. Yes, and it is much, much colder down here in the basement. We don't see any drippage. Nothing that's making it down here yet from last night being super cold. My flashlight now is only on 4,000 lumens. It's capable of 200,000, but it just overexposes. It burns up your battery faster. With this setting, you can go over 3 hours. Okay, right there we have part of the old ventilation system. That pushes air up and out through the roof. Because it's wide open at the top, years and years of rain has completely rusted it out. Look at the bottom of this ductwork, completely rusted out. And I would be very careful hanging out near these openings because who knows where the raccoons could be. Now this could have fallen down naturally, or I'm guessing kids had a whole bunch of fun knocking down this big piece of ductwork. Okay, now this is the flashlight's full potential. The overexposure actually arguably makes the picture not that much better. These pipes once were holding sewer, I'm guessing by the size of them, most likely covered in asbestos insulation. And where did the asbestos insulation go? Well, that's some of it right there. It looks like asbestos mixed with fiberglass. Thankfully, most of it is encased in ice. Yeah, the whole basement is a skating rink. This is cool. It's not flowing yet, but you can tell a lot of water is coming out of that pipe. I can't tell if that's roof drain or toilet. You see right here, very thick asbestos that was wrapped around the pipes. Kids not knowing better do pull-ups and stuff on it, break it off, and they're like, oh cool, look at the big cloud it just made. As everyone they're with breathes it in because they Don't know much about the asbestos. Oh yeah, that is really cool, that one there. Look at that big clump coming out of that. So one of those is drain, one of them is toilet. Roof drain and toilet. And what's this cool contraption there? Kind of looks like a trail camera, but I know it's not. Yeah, so it looks like the roof drain actually helped the sewage treatment plant with extra water flowing through it. Look at how deep the snow is out there, going up halfway over the window, if you can see that. All right, we're gonna continue with our tour. These are some very, very rusted out ductwork. Lots and lots of asbestos over here. Avoid touching that. We can look here into the machines. Oh wow, it is warm in here. And I'm guessing it's warm because it's blowing down from the roof where it's a big, dark, rusty structure sitting in the sun. But basically right here, you see these aluminum coils with copper pipes in the middle. Hot steam would have passed through these, heating it up, these tight coils, and then cold air would be blown through it. It heats the air up, and that's how this thing heats the building. Really, really cool. Does this plate here have any sort of date? Canadian General Electric Company Limited, Toronto, Canada. But it doesn't say the year, as far as I can tell. I'm going to show everyone up close this plate. Maybe you can see what I'm not seeing. Maybe there's a code. Maybe there's something that I'm not seeing. I don't see a date. It might be in that model number. It could be 1935. It could be, not 100% sure where the date would be on this plate. I bet the raccoons play in these sometimes. Okay, time for the steam tunnels. So yeah, these all go to the boiler room because it makes the system far more efficient having it pass directly. You coming, honey?
We're going down there?
Yeah.
What?
Going to the steam tunnels. Same place we went last time. The building will be less scary next time. I'll go down first and I'll shine my light back up.
Oh shoot, that's a steep.
Yeah, it's a lot colder down here too. Makes it scary. Lots of raccoon tracks. Okay, your turn to come down. Your turn.
I touched asbestos.
Once you go through it once, it won't be scary anymore. You've gone down this before in the summertime.
I have?
Yes, you have. We've done tours through this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's scary for me even coming down here the first time, but I also remember in the summer there was raccoon tracks everywhere too. Raccoons aren't really an underground animal either. They're more living in trees, so I think they just play here and use it as a go-between. So see, here we have the pipes with all these metal racks going through this tunnel. There are some raccoon tracks on the floor. We have more dripping water here building up, coming out of this pipe. As you see, somebody cut out a section, just stealing metal. I don't know why they didn't steal the rest of this, but they did steal some of the pipes. You see there's pipe hangers with nothing in them. So we're walking underneath the courtyard. There's a bunch of trash can lids. I bet kids were having a ton of fun with those, throwing them. There's raccoon tracks. So this place is usually muddy and you have to bring boots. One time we even came here, we didn't explore these because the water was so deep. You would need fishing waders, the big high boots, to get down them. You can see the water lines on the walls. Sometimes it's over your knees deep. But that's usually the spring when this place really, really floods, or maybe after a huge rainstorm. It was kind of dry the last time we were here. Just for a comparison of how big this place is, the ceiling here is probably maybe 12 feet tall, except that's under the courtyard where the ceiling gets short. Pretty sure above us this is the loading dock, and we're getting close to that elevator. Okay, another room with a whole bunch of ventilation and heat exchangers. In here, do you feel that as you're walking on parts with your wet boots, you're actually freezing to it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can feel it instantly freezing. Okay, here's the elevator. I hear water dripping. Not as much water as I would have imagined down here. Look how rusty the motor is for the elevator. Okay. I'm surprised we're not experiencing more water, seeing what was coming down those stairs earlier. I guess it's not making its way to the basement. Look at those switchboards. Oh wow, that is beautiful looking. So here's a bunch more of the same thing. I just showed you the inside of how it works, how it exchanges air. This is the most efficient way to heat large spaces like the auditorium, cafeteria, gym. Smaller rooms had steam radiators individually. Every room had its own radiator. Every prisoner cell had its own radiator. Yeah, look at that ice. That might be associated with the stairs. Be very, very careful getting up this. Look at that. Yeah. Be very careful because this is slanted the way it froze. Very careful going up that. There's no signal out here for emergency. In the summer we had one bar. Now we don't have anything for some reason in the winter. Okay, there.
Oh, is that blood?
Yep, some animal must have got hurt. That's creepy. The whole ceiling here has like a good 1/4 inch of frost on it.
Oh, this would be perfect for skating.
This would be absolutely perfect for skating. Oh, look, there's even radiators still in here. Someone didn't steal them. There's real radiators in there. This place is like a maze. Oh, here we are. There's the bottom of the waterfall stairs. Cool. You can really hear the rapids coming down those stairs. It doesn't look like much now that it's coming down here. In fact, some of it's actually starting to freeze as it comes down here. See the frazzle ice? It's like a slushy. It's much colder down here than it is outside. It's gotta be below freezing down here for this to be occurring. What's in here? I don't know if we've ever actually been in this room even in the summer.
Wow, what is that?
I don't know, maybe, I'm sure somebody will be able to tell me in the comment section. What is that? That is satisfying. Oh my gosh, that's cool. That is satisfying. You want to give that a shot?
Sure.
That's the best one right there. Try it again. I'm standing back a bit further for a good angle. Do it again. It is like a flip book. That is so cool. Does it say what it is? Oh, it's a transformer. Okay. I'm guessing that's the metal, that's the iron core. Somebody stole the coils. Am I correct about that? I think that's what it is. Giant transformers. It's an electrical room. Okay, what else do we have down here? I know we've been through here. This looks familiar. Whoa. If you do come up, it's even more dangerous. There's frost that makes it even more slippery. It's like a dusting of snow. There's nothing up here really though. It's just one little room. Someone stole all the pipes. I like that noise. Okay. Be even more careful coming down this. Notice how there's a lack of graffiti down here. There is some, but there's not much. I think a lot of kids are afraid to come down here. I don't know what that blood is. Either a raccoon or a coyote killed a rodent or something. Okay, this is bad. Dangerous, dangerous stairs here. Carefully. Here we go. Look at all these awesome pipes. Pretty sure that this is where we came from. More dripping water. Now we're going underneath another courtyard where the ceiling here gets short. Now we're going over to the wing that's closest to where we came in. I don't like leaving our stuff unattended this long. So we'll try to get back at some point. Look at that drain coming in, completely frozen. Lots and lots of bullet holes in these doors. We'll go up here later. Up here is another like mechanical room. It actually also looks like a workshop. Hey, in a building this old, look at that. Black ABS pipe. It's similar to PVC pipe. They did use that stuff in the 70s, so that's one of the last repairs they must have made before this place went down. Wow, this is actually...
I slipped.
You okay?
Yeah.
This place is beautiful looking with the snow. Look at that.
That is beautiful.
Snow drifted in here. Made it into a winter asbestos wonderland. Last time we got up top here too. I'm not sure if I want to do that again. Shut my big light off now to conserve. Here's the switchboards. Originally these things probably ran on coal, but now they use fuel oil or diesel fuel. They're the same thing. So diesel fuel is usually colored clear for on-road use. They'll put red dye in it for off-road use. Heating oil also has red dye. There's a difference. Heating oil is a lot cheaper than off-road diesel because it's refined less. You don't want to put heating oil in an engine. It refined less, look what I'm walking up, means that it has a lot of sulfur in it because it's not refined. It'll actually gunk up and eventually ruin a diesel engine, but it's okay for a burner. So that's the difference. You can see the road. Still think we're the only ones here. Fire hydrant. Sewage treatment building. Don't know if we'll venture over to that. There's really no reason to. Big expansion tanks. Look at the steel decking. It used to go all the way over here to steel decking. Someone stole it all for scrap. Also, it used to go over to that room. We can access it from the outside. The generator is in there. You see the giant engine that would have powered the building. So one of my comments said that older diesel engines actually required sulfur as lubrication compared to the newer ones. And if that's true, that probably ran off the heating oil first. Last time I was here, I was thinking that everything just ran off the more expensive diesel, but I'm not sure. Lots of asbestos here on this decking. It's covered in snow, but there's another foundation here. There used to be a fourth boiler. Now there's only 3. And that's where its chimney would have gone. It was covered up, but it has since rotted open again. There's stairs, ladder going up to another catwalk, which also was scrapped. You can't walk across it anymore. Someone stole it. I think somebody smashed this. This was not open like this in our last summer video. Absolutely not. But it's cool to see what's up here. Got to be careful here with the ice and lack of railing. The other staircase, someone stole a bunch of it, so can't really get down there either. So I'm going to go back down now. I'll show you the massive oil tanks. Got to be very, very careful doing this. I'm going to put my feet over here. See, so someone came in here with a cutting torch. It was probably a thief. I don't see the government doing this to make it less accessible. The government would try to board it up, not make it into even more of a hazard. That's what I think. So I'm down. Here's more pads where machinery was that someone took. More expansion tanks, but I love how they call it a cushion tank. These days, most people call it expansion. So here's a tunnel that's almost always flooded. Even in the driest summer when we were here, flooded. You would be able to fit through there like a hallway if it wasn't flooded, but that goes to the sewage treatment plant. Always flooded. Amazingly, there's no severe floods. Everything's frozen. These boilers are awesome to look at. Looks just like the inside of a steam train, and they're wrapped in so much asbestos. And look at all the water coming in around the chimney. It's leaking. Now, this would have been covered up with metal plates. This is a run for wires and pipes. Someone stole the metal plates, but it's made like that so you can easily take it up and run another line if you ever need to. Now this room over here is the crematory, where they would have cremated bodies, is what we believe this was. What do we got back there? Nothing? I almost got a nail through my foot there. Good thing I have steel soles in my boots. That's what they're for, exploring. Here's a contactor. More contactors. Those are cool. So anyone who doesn't know what a contactor is, no, that's actually a big switch, but a contactor is actually a big switch. So a contactor, you can flip one switch that is usually 120 volts, and it will use a electromagnet to go back and forth, connecting and reconnecting something that's super high voltage. That's how one little normal light switch can turn on the lights of an entire warehouse when that switch can't handle the voltage. It's actually moving something else. So this, people were telling me, is a crematory where they would have burned bodies. Is that true? Maybe. Looks like it started its life at being coal burning, and they converted it over to these oil boilers. I'm not sure. This could have just been a water heater. I don't really know much about this. We can't open that door. It's frozen down into the ice. So let's come over here. Ooh, there's stairs here going up and out. Hey, we've been here many times. I never knew these stairs were here. I think we just overlooked that whole thing. There's stairs going up to the courtyard, when usually we walk down here up this hill to get around. Didn't know that was there. They had a lot more leaking roof. Gotta be honest, this place is leaking a lot less than I thought it would have. So in here's like workshop space. But originally when the building was new, this is where they would have filled it with coal. And then they would have had firemen that would have shoveled it into the fireboxes. But they later converted it to fuel, which takes up less space than coal. So they no longer needed this. And they made it into like workshops, storage space. You see they got metal shelves in here. They have barrels in here. A little workshop for the people who used to keep the boilers going, the maintenance guys, the firemen, the engineers that would have worked on this place and kept it going. Building of this size being so remote, they almost definitely had a on-call electrician, a plumber, everyone who lived here probably. So over here in this catch basin, in case the tanks ever spilled, which they did, and it's caused by thieves. So this tank here still has hundreds of gallons of fuel in it. These are both 10,000 gallon, I believe, oil tanks. And that's kind of cool. Look at the ice and snow building up there on top of these tanks. Well, anyways, somebody stole a bunch of the pipes and spilled it all over the floor. You can't smell it much because it's winter and it's frozen, but you can smell fuel in here, definitely. And this type of fuel will actually gel up and freeze below 16 degrees Fahrenheit. If we look over here, in our summer video, I was actually, went over here. We lift up this rock, and oh, my cup is still here. I was taking the fuel, filling up like Gatorade bottles with this. That's looks like regular diesel fuel because it doesn't have the red dye in it. We were walking around the prison. We were collecting old clothing, towels, anything made of cotton. We made a bunch of torches, and that was awesome. It has to be cotton because if it's newer synthetic fibers, your torch is going to fall apart from the heat into like napalm all over the floor. It's got to be cotton. Maybe we'll do that again tonight. We got to come down here with a few bottles. But You saw the level in the pipe, bring it over to the tank. There's hundreds of gallons in these tanks still there. And it's all over the floor because someone stole the pipes and they just allowed thousands of gallons of diesel fuel to just spill down into the water table. Because the catch basin's obviously not doing its job. Because with those holes open up to the sky, this would be a swimming pool. It leaked. All that fuel is down into the water table now. The government should have emptied that out, but also it's ultimately the thieves' fault. Oil tanks like that, I don't know about those. I don't think those have actually leaked yet. Like the tank rusting through. Definitely not, but I know typically with an oil tank at a house, it's supposed to be replaced every 20 years. New tanks are garbage. The older tanks were very thick. I've seen houses that have original ones from the 40s that still haven't leaked. Although it is a hazard because if the tank looks perfect from the outside, the rust actually occurs from the inside out. Because when moisture gets into the tank, the water is heavier than the oil, and it's at the bottom, and that's what rusts it out. Yeah, lots of poop. My pigeons must love sitting in this exact spot. Last time we were here, there was a lot of pigeons. I bet they're still here. We'll have to specifically look for them in the auditorium. That's where they seem to like hanging out. All right, I guess we're gonna head on upstairs and look at the generator room. It's like the last place we've been, last place we haven't been. This would also ice up very quickly if it was given the chance. Got water dripping here. Where's it coming from? It's coming out of a crack. Be very careful out here of these holes. You don't want to fall down into the coal bins. And there's also spots that have plywood over them. Don't trust the plywood. Just stay away from these holes. Now here we are above the crematory. It feels very warm outside actually compared to the basement. When I said I felt hot air, I think it's just the normal air out here forcing its way into the basement where it was freezing. Yeah, it's not gonna budge. It looked like a handle, but I don't think it is. That's like a slippery ramp right down into there. Beautiful view of the prison. So I'm just gonna walk right in the middle here. Stay away from these holes. And this is a hazard too because you see as the snow gets deeper, the hole's able to kind of close itself up where you can almost not even see it. If there was a couple more snowstorms, you wouldn't even be able to tell that's here. In fact, that may have been completely closed up when we had more snow here a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that is so dangerous. You can barely tell how big of a hole is there. Compared to the basement, it feels like summertime. Okay, we've reached the generator room. The snow is actually not that bad out here. It's kind of packed. We're just on top of it. Not a big deal. Right here we have this vent that would open and shut. That's probably the cooling system for the generator. You can see the freeze and thaw cycles here are doing a number on the building. Look at that facade about to come off. That is scary, how much it is separated. See down here? Compared to up here. Now we go in. Got this big old diesel engine. Very slippery floor. Now that is cool. Look at that big lump on the floor. So the engine would have been sitting up on here. Would have been spinning a giant alternator. And the backside of the engine also looks like it was spinning its own fan that would have been mounted here, right in there. I'm not 100% if it was air-cooled. These older diesels oftentimes are air-cooled. I know the older military trucks, the older tractor trailers were air-cooled, a lot of them, so this probably was. Probably didn't have to deal with coolant. I know my diesel generator doesn't have to deal with coolant. It's air cooled, which is awesome when it comes to maintenance. So see, someone stole the decking into the boiler room. Right here's a bunch of switch panels and stuff that are all gone a long time ago. And here you have your amps gauge. More switch panels. These were probably the massive sort of breakers where these days you need safety gear on to flip these breakers that are this big because it can create an arc blast. So basically you have these massive circuit breakers that are so big you can't pull them. You can't flip them like one in the house. If anyone's tried to flip one in their house that's like 200 or 400 amps, you can barely move the thing. In a building like this, you'd have this thing you're winding up a big spring, and then when you release it, boom, that force is what pushes the switch. And when it pushes the switch, it makes a spark. And if there's like dust inside of the equipment and stuff, it can explode, blasting you. Sometimes fatal. That's why you have to carry, or you have to have special gear on. You have to have a flame-proof suit, basically, when you're flipping switches in massive buildings, whether it be a factory or a hospital, anything that uses a massive amount of power. The brickwork here with the stone right between the windows, this actually reminds me of one of my old schools I went to that I believe was built in the 70s. Yep, that is absolutely right, that graffiti. We had an apple feast when we camped here. I think that was September. Okay, we're going back into the building. So here there's almost no snow, and you see the drift. It's very deep right there. I guess while we're here, we should check out this room. This is another like workshop room. There's lots of tables for the maintenance workers, or at this place, the prisoners probably played a huge part in maintaining it. Be careful, there are nails on this table sticking up. Lots of ice in here. There's that hole. We were just down inside it. Leads down to the boiler room. Well, that explains why this table is so rotten. Look at all the water coming out of the ductwork. The radiator was stolen. Look out these double doors. There's the sewage plant. More workbenches. Got this pneumatic piston for the damper, open and closing. Got more copper tubes where steam would have gone through the heat exchanger. And down here there's like a barber's chair. There was last time at least. So we have all these cages, walls, lots of rotten tables. This weird insulation blocks falling off the walls. And this actually leads right back to that center hallway where we could explore the front offices. Got an old boombox there. Is that a old cassette player? Yes, it is. What kind is it? What kind? Who makes this? Well, I remember as a little kid having one of these where you had to put all these massive D batteries in it, and they don't even last that long. Can't even tell who makes it. I don't see the manufacturer anywhere on that. That's okay. So I think we're actually going to go back this way because we haven't been over here yet. This goes to the last steam tunnel. Back to exactly where we just came from. Yeah, see, there's like a barber's chair right there.
No, it's safe.
Yeah, there was a trash can. There was something to help you up here last time that helped us get up. But this ice is fairly clean. I don't mind putting my knee onto that. It's dry. Up into here. Okay. I'll help you up out of here. Nice. We don't have to come down here again. These old buildings have so many passageways. Look at all that ice. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. At first I was like, is that a piece of glass? No, the splashing of the dripping just encased it as if it's some sort of beautiful glass decoration, but it's just a fake flower that got coated in ice so beautifully. Yeah, that was really cool. I had to get some pictures of that. So this place is a lot drier than I expected it to be. Look at that, how it's bowed and buckled. This is actually that vent where I was showing the water dripping out of right next to our tent, 2 flights up. Same exact leaky vent. And now see that door down there after that brick wall? That's exactly where we started the maze through the underground. And here we have a whole bunch of rotten furniture and shelving. I think it's just dark because it's rotting, maybe a little bit of mold. At first I thought somebody had lit it on fire, but there's no evidence of that on the ceiling. The ceiling's also covered in frost because it must condensate a lot and freeze. There's a bed frame. And this is exactly where we started. Yep. And we haven't been down here yet. This is underneath the offices. The radiators are still in this part. The radiators seem to exist in the parts of the building that are furthest away, hardest to get out. So that's where we're camping up there. See that little offshoot of the building down there? And there will be a staircase here that we're, a way back out. It looks a little bit icy though. Another room, it's like a skating rink. This is so much cooler than exploring it when it's a mud hole. Snow blew in here. Look at all the wooden shelves. This was either offices or just records. Maybe these were the cubby holes of the belongings of the prisoners. I don't know. This could have been a lot of things. Down here is the locker room for the correctional officers. I guess where they would put their things when they go home. And when I say go home, that means drive like 5 minutes down the road when that road was in good condition to the town that has been completely demolished. The town that lived for this place. Someone stole all the lockers. That's what would have been on that concrete lip. The benches are still here. The radiator's still here, amazingly. Lots of broken glass. There's a barn swallow's nest up there on those pipes.
Oh, careful, honey.
Yeah, I just stepped in the snow, and snow on top of ice. Yeah, I did that to myself. That's bad. Okay, another electrical room, or a communication room. Look at those tiny little wires. Panels of phone wire. I'm gonna have to plug my phone into the power bank. I'm running on now only 22%, but we got plenty of time. We came down here on 50%. Here's another room that, nothing. Did that just crack?
No,
Okay. Other than the dripping, at least this place is very quiet. You'd hear someone walking around upstairs, even through the concrete. So, what's this room? ever go in here? No, I don't think I've ever been in this room. It's not much to see, just a bunch of rotten shelves. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in this room. Look at that awesome locking mechanism. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I think this is. I'm thinking this was a vault where they kept all the firearms, ammunition for the officers, because this is, it looks like a vault door. I've never noticed that before. I think that was for all the guns. Okay. Be very, very careful walking over this. It's not that bad, but be very careful. Go slow and patient. The second flight is a lot worse. I mean, better. That's the worst part down there. Just try to keep your feet on the debris for traction. The stairs here are better. There's 0 ice going up to the second floor. This is where we started. Here's the entrance. Just coming back out of the basement once again, it feels a lot warmer. I'm just looking at the tracks, making sure it's just our tracks still coming in. Look at all the cinder blocks stuck up there on the ceiling. In places like this, the plaster fell off the walls. And look, it kind of made like a valley where you walk in the middle. This was housing for the guards, it looks like. I don't think it was offices because you're gonna see there's bathtubs and things in here. Well, there was a sink there, I can tell. But somewhere around here there was I know there's a bathtub here somewhere. I think it was this room. Maybe? I know it's here somewhere. It might be the second floor. Yeah, I think it's the second floor. This was like the check-in office and stuff. Because you see, when you'd come in, there was a glass brick wall here. And you had to come in through here, probably multiple doors and checkpoints. Look at the water. Look at this flood all the way in here. Now those look like bathroom stalls. Or a bathroom stall. A lot more ice. Thick, thick ice. Now we're going to go to the second floor of the housing. Ice is not that bad. Oh, the second part is a bit bad. Just be very careful, okay? At least it's the type of ice that's deteriorating. Do you see how it's not as slippery as regular ice? It's also thankfully flat. Be really careful there. There's no railing. Now, if that brick wall wasn't there, it would be right into the hallway of the upstairs of the cells. And now this is what I remember as being housing. Yep, there's the bathtub. One of them, at least. And I don't think I'm supposed to be walking through here. That used to be a wall. Maybe that was a shared bathroom. Here's the emergency escape, fire escape. You see that rope going down to that blanket? I'm the one who strung the rope across and hung a big blanket there, but it's gone. Someone also took I left one canned food hanging from a string over there on the roof. That's also gone. It didn't fall. Someone definitely took it. I do think this was sleeping quarters. Yeah. Here's another slippery hallway. Here's a door that no one's ever been able to get open, so they smashed a hole through here. And this overlooks the front awning. Looking down, yep, we're the only footprints, just our snowshoes. I don't think anyone else is going to come here despite being a weekend, especially with this horrible weather coming. And I remember in the summer when we stayed here, there was a bunch of kids and explorers that came here. They only spent a few hours apiece typically. There was some that came here at the evening for the sunset, and they left. But that's because the walk is under an hour that time of year. Now it's like a 3-hour walk out here, and it's a bit more challenging. Okay, we gotta be careful going back down these. Don't see any reason to come back up into this spot. It's much more dangerous going down. Very, very slow. Safety. Take your time, very, very slow. Okay, it's good to know the animals don't live here. There's no sleeping bear. I didn't think there would be, but there's always a slim possibility to check through the entire building. But come nighttime, definitely there will be critters walking these holes, and hopefully they just leave us alone. All right, we did just scare away a pigeon. In the summer there was a whole bunch. We only just saw one, but there's nests and stuff. I knew they had to have been around because of the poop in the furnace room. Wait. Oh, there's one still there. You can see it sitting on a nest. Oh, we're not alone. And I would have forgot about looking for the pigeons, but I heard one when we were coming up the stairs. Ooh, another bird. I can tell you right now why that bird is probably there. So you got that smokestack right there baking in the sun, and the hot air that the sun is heating up is moving up and out of it. I bet there's a nice, really warm draft coming out of that chimney despite it not being on. Now we're gonna head back to camp at the end of this hallway. I touched something in that boiler room. Oh yeah, it was the rock. My fingers still smell like diesel fuel. All right, everyone, we're back to camp. I think the water is going further than it was before. It's been dripping a lot more. I don't believe that this water was this far. I'm still not hungry for anything. What did you eat today? Anything?
I ate my shawarma.
Yeah, you had leftovers. I had leftovers too, but I wasn't hungry for breakfast. And now that it's left in the truck, I think it's going to become animal food when we get back tomorrow. Awesome view. The sunset will be on the other side of the building, though, if the sky is clear enough to even see it. It looks more and more overcast as the day gets longer. What do you think of this style? I thought this was graffiti at first, but it looks like they actually had a polka-dotted ceiling everywhere. All right, everyone, I hooked up to a wire, so I'm charging the camera as I record. What do you think needed this sort of bracket that was that heavy here in this office? I don't know. Maybe a massive analog TV? Maybe a monitor to an old camera in the hallway? I know they did have security cameras back in the 60s and 70s. They were massive things. It's possible. Well, maybe it was just a TV for the guards that night. Looking back at the footage, this was dry, the doorway. This water is expanding. It looks like the room is slightly higher there, so hopefully the water leaves us alone. I'm also going to have to look back at the footage. I don't think this was trickling down the hallway like this just an hour ago. It's getting warmer fast, and if you look at the end of the water, it is slowly making its way. The rooms that are facing this way, because that's where the sun is, it's melting, creating puddles that are also coming into the hallway. Also, this side hasn't started melting one bit, even though it is above freezing, because there's no sun. Yeah, the thermometer now, we're exactly 50 degrees or 10 degrees Celsius. It'll probably get a little warmer before it gets cooler. This is still frozen. The last thaw, this came out and froze. But where it's wet, you can see these were actually one time beautiful floors. Forget what that's called, this type of concrete. It's really nice. All right, everyone, it's daytime, but I want to use one of these. I just want to see how much smoke it makes. There's no one around. It's a brick building. We're not going to burn anything. I guess it's not the type with the exploding balls. But this will definitely scare an animal away. It's not the loud type, unfortunately. I thought it was the kind with the exploding balls. And it also appears there's not 10 shots. Well, I think that'll still scare away a coyote or a raccoon. I honestly expected it to fire like twice as far and go bang. I guess these aren't the good ones you get in the States. And it's probably, like I just said, maybe they already banned them. Maybe they banned the type that I'm thinking of that explodes. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay. That one seemed to have more power. Wow. That'll certainly scare something away at night. Boom. Yours was better. Wow, the noise as it skids on the ceiling, that was so cool. It barely makes any smoke. Yeah, the ones with the exploding balls that I buy in the United States, they are smoky. You wouldn't even be able to see down the hallway. These ones in Canada are awful. I just found a tea light candle. The wick is mostly gone, but I do think we could actually light what's there. If you look at the edge, a mouse or something was actually eating the wax. Mice will actually eat bars of soap too. I see it in abandoned buildings all the time. People tell me to use things like Irish Spring to keep away pests. I have tried it and they'll actually eat it. Mice, if they're hungry enough, will actually eat the Irish Spring. I just found someone else's wrapper. This is what I was hoping to have. The 10 shot that actually explodes when it fires. They're loud. It sounds like a gunshot when they're going off. I brought 3 cans myself, meatballs, maple beans, and some pears. I love those. This actually tastes like balls of Spam in gravy. I don't mind it. It's not like a real meatball.
Freeze-dried fruit. Some
more meat sticks. This right here smells super strong when you open it, so I think we should eat that somewhere else to not attract predators. I honestly think we should have our meals somewhere else in the building.
plantain chips. I love plantain chips.
And I brought a ton more beef sticks, other than those other ones. More energy drinks for the morning, SpaghettiOs. What else did you get in there? Cream of broccoli, vegetable soup, more vegetable soup.
I brought a lot.
No, that's okay. Gonna need a lot of energy out here.
Yep.
I personally want to eat mine somewhere else in the building, and maybe at the other end of the hall or
Where the benches are.
different floor. Yeah, good. We could sit in the bathroom where the shower benches are. Leave our wrappers there so an animal goes down there tonight instead, and then we'll clean it up in the morning. A couple more hours, it'll be dark. Temperatures are slowly rising, hovering around that same temperature. It feels so much warmer outside than it is in here. Okay, shower room. We have a perfect view of anyone that could be coming in. We're on a different floor, the other end of the wing. So if any animals come in, hopefully they'll smell our food in here and leave us alone. And we'll come back for our trash in the morning. So I'm gonna have the meatballs, and I'm gonna have the pears. I'm just gonna stab it with a fork. I mean the knife. I don't know where the fork went, but you can have my spoon for SpaghettiOs. And we got a can opener here that I gotta use twice. You're lucky. And then I'm gonna clean that off. It's so easy to clean silverware. You just run it through the snow outside, find a clean patch. Yeah, see, it's like a big ball of Spam. I wish I had my fork because this isn't working great, but When I think of a meatball, I think of not this pate stuff. I think of more of a beef or something. Is this even beef? What kind of meat even is this? Okay, it's a mix of beef, pork, and chicken. So yeah, I guess whatever left over, just like with Spam, it's the discarded stuff. Interesting. It's got potato balls too. I had a can of these like a week ago and that one didn't have potatoes. Alright, that was a good meal. 2 cans was a bit much. I had trouble finishing these. These pears right here, compared to the ones I eat at home, were kind of hard. I feel like that might actually be better for long-term prepping because they seem to soften over time. These honestly felt like they went into the can before they were ripe. This isn't the cleanest snow, but we'll do it again on the roof. I just don't like how this is starting to dry because it'll make it harder. When it's snowy out, all you gotta do is this. It basically takes everything off. The snow's kind of abrasive. Just like that. It cleans up everything quite fast. Look at that. Everything's off of it. Now the knife. Just back and forth through the snow. The snow gets everything off. Yep. Most of it. Gotta go a little more in. Everything's off. We'll clean it again upstairs, but now my pockets won't get dirty and that stuff doesn't get a chance to dry. All right, everyone, we got everything out. The bags are up on top of the snowshoes, just trying to keep everything off the dusty floor. So this I stood up. There's a little bit of water in there. I got scared at first because the box of sparklers is soaked because I was in the bottom. Thankfully, the sparklers pulled out and they're dry because there's an internal bag. That's nice. That'll be fun for tonight. Now this, because we had to twist it slightly to get it fit to the door, I'm thinking perfect. It fit in the door perfect. So I'm hoping if some animal tries to come in here, they'll knock this down or at least make noise. There's also this big hole here that I'm not quite sure how to block it. Maybe we'll find a piece of plywood or something we can bring back. But again, it will make extra noise and hopefully we'll hear something coming in. But at least this can be used as a door for the moment. So the door is nicely blocked. We got plenty of extra socks. These ones are wet. Hopefully they'll dry in the breeze. We're going to go up to the roof now to try to get service. Because we did have service up there to check the weather and stuff in the summer. There's no service whatsoever in the building. We're going to try going up to the roof while it's still nice and warm outside. It's warmer outside than it is in here. Although temperatures are already showing they're dropping a little bit. Compared to the downstairs, it feels so warm actually being outside. And the snow is not even deep on the roof because it all blows off. It's only deep in that snow drift right there, which is extremely packed. Ooh. The sky is starting to turn a little orange. We might still have a beautiful sky come sunset. I think we have another hour or so before sunset. Here's the flagpole. And this is where we camped last time, right here on the edge, basically above where we're sleeping now. All right, everyone, so our tent is right here, right below us. Here's that vent I was talking about, where you see all the dripping water in the hallway outside our camp. Also way down in the basement I was showing water. It's this right here. There's a grate. I lifted the grate up. You can see all the way down to the basement. There's nothing in the way. There's more of these grates on each corner that aren't there. You could fall all the way down that tight vent and be trapped. So got some ponding water. The drains, some of them work, some are blocked. That's what gave the trees an opportunity to grow. That's why they're growing evenly like this. They're in the clogged drains. The rest of the roof, nothing really ever had the ability because the roof, just no dirt, no sediment, no leaves. Nothing's blowing up here to make it fertile enough. So this is a tarred roof with gravel on top of it. The gravel protects the tar from conducting a lot of sun's heat, and it makes it last longer. If it was just a tarred roof, it would start cracking, it would get extremely hot, but the light colored gravel helps that not happen. See on the edge? There's a light colored gravel. It would be a lot lighter in color if it was actually dry. See, there's gravel, a couple inches of gravel before you get to the tar. All considering how long this place has been abandoned, for 50 years, this is still in pretty good shape. The brickwork really took a beating though over the years. I've never been down on this part of the roof. Didn't really ever want to. Not gonna see anything else by being down there. This is actually a beautiful picture. I had to snap that. The horizon's starting to look orange, those smokestacks, the sun. If we can see it, I don't think we will, but there's gonna be a full moon. You saw how bright it was last night. I think tonight is the actual full moon. Last night I don't think was 100% full. All right, maybe we can walk all the way over to the other side now. Is that a chair? What's that? It's beautiful out here. Let's go over to the other side. Compared to the other side of the building, the brickwork here is perfect. It seems to be the sides of the building that receive more freeze and thaw cycles are in worse condition because it freezes at night, expanding. During the day, it contracts. Over here, there's like nothing. But just that little area where this blocks the sun, it is in great shape. Look at all the toilet vents, plumbing vents all over the place. The sun is getting prettier. It'll be set in the next hour. We were able to get a weather update from the rooftop. It was able to load up, so there's only a single-digit percentage of chance it's gonna rain all the way until the sun comes up in the morning. Nothing's gonna happen tonight. Now tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., 5% chance. 8 a.m., 30% chance. 9 a.m., still 30-something% chance. 10 o'clock, 80% chance of rain. So if we pack up and get out of here first thing crack of dawn, we might get back dry. If we linger here for an hour or two, when the sun comes up, we're probably going to get very wet. So we got to keep that in mind leaving here in the morning. We should probably leave first thing. This over here, this cliff, look at that hill with all these rocks. That would make the most incredible enclosure if you had goats. That's awesome looking. Well, I tried to write post 10, but I guess the dyslexia part of me got me on the S. That is arguably worse. That's worse than the first one. Alright everyone, the volume there was enhanced. Maybe you could hear it. We can hear the train, which is so far away. Those engines are so loud. I could hear the trains rumbling by when I used to live in the city, but yet the train tracks were 10 miles away. My dad told me that the way sound is traveling, it travels about, I think it was a mile every 5 seconds. So the trains were a good... the noise you're hearing is like 30, 40 seconds away. If we hear the train horn, it's probably realistically blowing it a couple seconds ago, maybe 10 seconds ago, if we do hear a train horn. They don't typically blow their horn out here because there's no crossings out in the middle of nowhere. We're now going to head down to the boiler room with some empty Gatorade bottles and get some fuel. We'll cut these jeans in half. Maybe we can make a couple torches just for fun. We also got to go back up on the roof and watch the sunset, where I'll have to use the internet again. We want to figure out when sunrise is exactly so we can get up with it, set an alarm. But usually camping out in the elements, you can usually just naturally wake up with it anyways. All right, everyone. We're now going down the staircase we didn't know about last time. And gonna grab some diesel fuel so we can make a couple of torches. The water dripping has really accelerated since we were down here a few hours ago. That's a cool gauge. We got a water dripping. I'm getting wet just standing here. A lot more drippage. You can really feel the melting going on out here. So there's a flash flood watch with all the rain we're going to get with all the snow melting combined. All right, everyone. So I'm stepping into the spill pit. I'm going to use my headlamp also. I'm going to get some fuel in here so we can make some torches. There we go. Diesel fuel. And it's amazing, it's 50 years old and it still burns perfectly. This stuff doesn't go bad. It becomes less efficient over time as it degrades, but if anyone wants to say anything about me dripping it, there's already thousands of gallons spilled all over the floor. We're just collecting a little bit. And see, as I'm taking it, it's getting replenished because there's still hundreds of gallons in these tanks on the bottom. If you look at the pit, it's slowly filling back up. You might wonder, why is it going so slow? I'm guessing there's a lot of sludge in the pipe. This is filling up a lot slower than it did the last time we were here. I think these tanks are actually running out because it was replenishing faster last time. It might actually be running out. Or it's been so cold out, the fuel might be gelling and clogging up its own pipes. If somebody knew this was here and they were out here in the middle of the wilderness in the freezing winter, this could save their life. This stuff is not like gasoline. You can put a match out in it. It needs a wick, like a candle, to burn. It's oil, it's not like gasoline. One more scoop. And that looks like dehydrated pee. Look at that. Here we go. It is climbing back up, so it does show there's still in there. It's gunked up or gelling, the fuel. Put that over it, seal it up. We'll make some torches after we rip up those old jeans. Look at that. Look at those icicles around that circle. That is cool looking. All right, we got some fuel, and now we're off. Okay, for a moment, we're back into the steam tunnel, and yep, there's our bottles. Back into the steam tunnel to try a Roman candle down here into the dark, scary tunnel. So, how about we shut our lights off? It'll probably look better, right? Okay. I love seeing smoky fireworks, but these aren't the smoky type. Okay, here we go. Oh. That was so cool. Want to do another one? Maybe we'll get to see the smoke in the second time. Oh yeah, that tunnel got smoky fast. You're gonna have to look at this later. That looks so cool on the screen. Yeah, that looked unbelievably cool. And look at that, you can barely see down there with all the smoke left behind, but the smoke will quickly clear out. Look at the smoke. Whoa. It's pouring into the boiler room. Look at all that smoke. And notice the smoke is staying low. It's because it's mixed with freezing cold air coming out of the basement. Oh yeah, you can even see your breath. It's below freezing in the basement, but it's considerably warmer in here. That is so cool. Smoke usually rises, but it's staying down here like a fog because the air is so cold compared to that air. That was incredibly cool. That is a massive, like 10-gallon metal bucket. Old chair. The smoke has already cleared. Basically, it's all out the door. All right, here's a view inside the firebox. So this is making the diesel into a fine mist, so it's more combustible like a gas. Look in here, the big firebox where they used to shovel coal. Look up top where the water is. It gets boiled. Once again, it feels so warm out here. It feels like summertime after being in that tunnel that's below freezing. It's just amazing the temperature difference. It's still frozen down there where the dripping water is freezing on contact. But up here, it's nice. Less than an hour, it's gonna be pitch black out. The sky's actually getting really pretty. All right, came back up onto the roof because this is the only place we can get a bar of service that actually works. In the building, nothing. Outside, nothing unless you walk around that corner in the field. It's like a dead area for service. So I looked up a couple questions. I looked up, when is sunrise? Well, today it is March 14th, 2025. In the morning, it's going to get light at 7:35 is when it's completely light, sunrise. You also have to look up when is dawn, because there's a difference. Dawn is at 7:09, it says. Or maybe it said 7:05. But dawn is like a half an hour earlier. Dawn means the sun is just starting to peak up. You can just start to make out things and see stuff. Sunrises means it's completely light out. So, but anyways, I just looked up when sunset is. We still have supposedly 38 minutes before it actually completely sets. But it's already starting to get scary and dark in the building. Because you go down to the first floor, that horizon's already blocking it. This reflective paint in the graffiti is really showing up nicely. I guess the sun takes longer to set in the winter, maybe? Because I don't remember it taking so long during our summer camp here. I do remember the stage. Ooh, pigeon just flew out the window. I do remember the stage, because it's starting to fall apart, being extremely bouncy. It looks like they used the same metal trusses to build the stage. They look exactly the same size as those ones. This building's going to be here forever. Even when the floors deteriorate, the roof leaks severely, the walls crumble down, it is a steel-framed building. It'll be here for a while, even without. I remember this being bouncy, right? No, it's over here that's bouncy. It's like a trampoline. It's a little off rhythm with my jumps. I wonder how much the waterfall has melted over here. Be careful, there's ice. Yeah, we're not going to get that open. There's so much ice. Okay, the water's definitely flowing more than it was this morning. Here's that door. The door does function. in the summertime. I was able to get out of there, but there's thick ice against the bottom of it. Wow, the stairs actually melted their way out. You can even see this crevice here, the water flowing. It completely defrosted in the few hours we were here. I'm still not going to stay in there. That's still sheer ice, but wow, it melted out a lot. And down here, it didn't thaw all the stairs, but in the middle of the stairs where it's actually flowing, we now have a spot that's not slippery that we could potentially walk. What about down there when it was really, really bad? Not yet, but it's working on it. It's working on an area that won't be slippery. It's defrosting well. I think by morning, those stairs will be safe again. It's really thawing out. I love the sound of the water. And this room is still, woo, nice and slippery. The amount of raccoon tracks in here is insane. Definitely in the winter months, more raccoons than humans are visiting it. I think in the summer, because there's so many humans that visit this every single day, it keeps the animals away. But now that there's no humans, it's really, really returning back to nature. We're the only human footprints entering this building, probably for weeks, based on what we're seeing. Ooh, you even scared me around the corner. We have a new annoying noise in the hallway, but I can quickly solve it. Water wasn't falling here before. It just started leaking in a new spot. Here we go. Get rid of all these unnecessary noises near camp. Okay, we collected the same frying pan, same exact torch stick we used last time we camped here in the summer. I can't find more than this one metal stick, but it's okay. We only have enough material for 2 torches. We could definitely salvage more, but that's all right. We shut this door where a raccoon can't fit through it, but just like where we're sleeping, we have these windows that we don't have a solution for. And the water, wow, it has really made its way down the hall. 1 torch ready to go, and we have exactly 28 minutes until sundown. Now that it's getting dark, we can see 2 pigeons. There's the one I showed earlier on top of a nest. I don't know if you can see it, but there's one over here, which is easier to see. Pigeons. It makes a creepy sound as they walk across the duct. It just amplifies the noise. Oh. Oh, we got it in. Oh, got it in. Got it in the hole. Got it in. Got it in. Oh! Whoa! Got it in. That was cool when it smacked against the wall in there. But everything's concrete. We're not going to start a fire. Boom! That'd be a lot more fun at night. Well, everyone, the sun is completely down, and dusk is gonna follow. I can hear another train in the distance, too.
Oh! They're kind of bending.
Yeah, these are the long sparklers. I'm pretty sure that's the last intact light bulb in the entire building that didn't get smashed. Now it's almost completely dark outside. This place has got a lot more scary. And there's the main entrance. This is the first above freezing night in a while. I feel like there's going to be creatures joining us tonight. And that's where they're gonna enter. Every raccoon track in the building enters and leaves from the front door right to the woods. We don't see any tracks leading out back. Every single creature comes from here. I wish we would have known that. I could have brought a trail camera and put it there. So any visitors will be coming from there, so we got to be careful. So which way you want to go? The lunchroom?
Sure.
Oh my gosh, everyone. Our first visitor. It's a raccoon, and he don't want anything to do with us. That's actually sad. The raccoon's limping.
Go outside?
It did not go outside. It went in the closet. Or maybe it knows a secret route down. That's like the room where the ductwork cleanouts are. Stay clear of it. I think it went inside the duct or something. I'm not going to be the one to peek in there, but I'm pretty sure it went into one of these duct holes. It doesn't want to mess with us, but I'm not going to go up to that door and risk getting bit. It's injured, and yeah, something happened to its foot. It was limping. Okay, so somebody has already entered the building. It may have already been in here. There's really no way of knowing. See, we're not afraid of the typical raccoon. We're afraid of one that is starving, that tries to break into the tent, or has rabies. Remember, 99% of the time, an animal is not going to mess with your tent. Unless it's like a grizzly bear. But, gotta be prepared. That raccoon just came in, everyone. I thought for sure it probably was in there because it was injured. No, it just came into the building. Because here's our footprints from earlier. No other humans. See, all the raccoon tracks are kind of gone. But there's one set of raccoon tracks here that's super fresh. Brand new. Yep, just came in from the woods. How many friends will be following it? Every animal track leads to this front door. We don't see any other doors with tracks except cutting through the courtyard. So this says 1958. This is the newer part of the building. Parts of this structure are as old as 120 years, I believe. I don't know the exact date, but let's head back in, and maybe before bed we'll come down here and look for more tracks, and we'll know how many visitors we have got in. It's a warm night. Raccoons will be active. Raccoons do hibernate for small portions of time, not throughout the whole winter. They'll bounce in and out, or they just won't hibernate if there's abundant food. When they run out of food, they'll sleep for a few weeks at a time. But they don't go months like a bear. All right, here's the flashlight. 4,000 lumen. 200,000 lumen. Does a great job of lighting up the field. All right, everyone. From camp, we're both going to try our big flashlights out on the dark field now that it's completely dark. Here we go. There's one. Now that's 400,000 lumens of flashlights. That lights up the whole field. We'd see even further if it wasn't for that fog. Wow, blinding in here. Super bright flashlight. Inside, it bounces back on the walls a ton. These flashlights can also be used for self-defense. If you suddenly turn this on, it'll blind anything. Like, if there's something down these halls, it can't see you. It just sees the giant light. All right, everyone. We got some diesel fuel. We probably didn't need both of these containers, but I'm going to soak this a bunch. Turn it over. Ah, it's coming apart. I didn't do a good job with it. Here we go. Give it a minute, it'll spread around. Wow. It's big now, but it'll settle down in a minute. And the smoke stays up by the ceiling, so it's not even bothering us. The amount of heat it's creating. This whole hallway is suddenly nice and warm. That noise is cool. What you're hearing is I put too much fuel, and as the flaming piece of fuel drops, it goes. All right, it's done now. Now it's starting to calm down already. That looks cool down there. The bright flashlight. You can see the bit of smog. You see how the smoke is all sticking up here by the ceiling? That's pretty cool to see. And this torch will go for a good 20 minutes now. It's a good light source to see your way around. It's producing tremendous heat. It's like daylight. That thing is bright. If it's suddenly dark in here and you turn that on, you will blind somebody. The torch is now down to a normal setting. It'll burn like that for quite a while. I don't know if you can tell, the smoke is no longer up by the ceiling. It kind of evenly distributed now, probably because the exhaust is no longer hot. That's what I'm thinking. All right, everyone, I'm gonna put together another torch. That was almost out, so I put it into the extra fuel that was leaking, and that'll burn itself out in like 20 minutes. Now we have a nice little warm fire to gather around in there. It's gonna get bigger because once that diesel fuel gets to its flash point, it's going to really accelerate. Basically, the fuel is going to start boiling, making itself into a gas. That's why it's getting bigger, and you can hear splattering like when you're deep frying. I also do want to check the front door again before we go to sleep. Look for more new Raccoon tracks because it's only 8:30, but we'll probably go to bed in like an hour. We still got a lot of sparklers and things to play with. Let's go around the corner and take a look. Oh, it's so dark I can't see a thing. I need to use my headlamp. I'm just gonna peek out this window and see what it looks like outside. Whoa, that looks cool. That looks so cool from the outside. It looks like the building's literally on fire in that room. All right, everyone, that's kind of glowing red in there, the leftover pieces of gene. It could spontaneously combust. It might. We'll see. No, I guess not. This is going to be a big torch. Our last one of the night. Ooh. I'm pouring that over hot. That's basically flammable vapor right there. Yep. Look at the smoke coming out of the pocket. It'll settle down in a minute, just like the first torch. Oh, I love that noise. This one's almost too hot to hold. I hope I don't have to put it down. I just gotta hold it upwards, it looks like. Wow, it's a lot bigger than the other one. The heat is extreme. That was cool. Okay, I need a little break. That is really, really hot. I'm gonna let that settle itself for a minute, then I'll pick it back up. Well, I should have made 3 torches. That one got too hot. I didn't want to start burning my hand. It was already kind of uncomfortable, but I put it down on that piece of ductwork. It's shaped like a bowl. That'll probably burn for like a half an hour, the amount of fuel in that torch. That's kind of cool. It'll burn itself out. I'm not making any more. I'm kind of bored with it already. It was fun in the summer. All right, everyone, we just went to the main entrance again. It's still the only raccoon in here. There's only one raccoon in here. It hasn't left yet, but it's not going to bother us. The moon, I can tell, is going to be bright if the sky clears, but we can definitely see the moon. Almost time for bed. Used up all our sparklers. We're going to save all the Roman candles as an animal deterrent. All right, everyone, it's now 9 o'clock. The fire is almost burned out. And our legs are super sore. We got to get a good night's sleep before we leave. We're still not sure if we're going to leave at the crack of dawn or wait until after the heavy rain. We have until morning to decide that. That'll be out in a couple minutes. All right, it's like 9:15, so temperature. It looks like 35 degrees or 2 degrees Celsius. It's already much colder than they said it would be for the overnight low. I think we're gonna get below freezing. Remember, those temperature readings take place in the nearest city, and it's always colder in the country. Yeah, I just wanted to look at it because I noticed in the hall, look, all that water turned into frazzle ice. It's all, the whole hallway is slush. I bet it'll be sheer ice by morning. Yeah, it's already colder than they said. We're almost below freezing. All right, everyone, here's something cool I realized. If you shoot this at the ceiling, it's actually louder. The reason it's louder is because the charge that flares when it hits the ceiling, it causes the whole flare to go off at once, like bang. It's kind of cool. And also, look, it doesn't leave a single mark because it burns so fast. All right, there's a little bit of fog out there. We're slightly above freezing. It's only like 33 degrees or barely 1 degree Celsius. The moon is looking nice. It's trying to burn its way through the cloud. All right, everyone, we're brushing our teeth, and I'm flossing before I brush my teeth. All right, everyone, it's exactly 10 o'clock. I've just shut the door with the sled. Hopefully, if something tries to come in, we'll hear it, or hopefully we don't trap something in here if it jumps through the window. But we're gonna bring a couple drinks in for the night. I just charged up my phone, and I got earplugs because the tent makes noises that'll keep me up. So we also have a bunch of these just in case we need to scare away an animal. So honestly, I don't think anything's gonna mess with us, but anything is possible and you wanna be prepared for it. So just brush our teeth. We'll be up bright and early. We have a 7 o'clock alarm set so we can see everything come to life. Here's inside the tent, everyone. Kinda cramped, but big enough for 2 people. Everything's outside. Got the flashlight, got a few things in here. Pretty good. Just in case the bear spray is close by. Got this hanging up here. We'll shut that off in a minute. Got our stinky socks hanging here. They're a little damp. Maybe they'll dry by morning. If not, we have brand new ones. Still charging my phone. All right, everyone. We're all ready for the night. It's about 10:15, and I'll see you in the morning. Good night, everyone. We've got a friend in here with us. What is that? Is that already a black fly this early in the year? Good morning, everyone. This is our overnight low. It got down to, looks like, almost freezing. Stayed at about 32 degrees. Stayed right at about 0 degrees Celsius. We're gonna grab our little heater, warm up in here a little bit. Have breakfast in here. Once we warm up, we'll go out into the bags and get something. Just gonna use this to warm up the tent for a bit. Look, everyone, we got a spider friend in here. All right, everyone, we have over an hour left until the sun actually starts coming up, but we're gonna bring some breakfast in here and warm up a little bit. So it stayed about just a degree above freezing. None of the water in the room on the floor froze or anything like that.
What kind of meat sticks you want?
Just grab me a bunch of meat sticks and maybe a bag of fruit. It's too cold to have the beans. I don't want to have that. We don't have a pan or anything. I brought this thing solely as a heater. So everyone, we have an hour left, just about before the sun comes up. We're having breakfast, some freeze-dried apples, strawberries, meat sticks, and these are always good. So this comes with a little container of spicy chicken, crackers, and a tiny spoon. That's what the spicy chicken looks like, if anyone was wondering. It's really good. You can see there's a bunch of pieces of celery mixed into it also. All right, everyone. So outside is only 1 degree above freezing. In here, this stove is making a big difference just sitting around it. In here, it's showing 45 degrees or about 6 degrees Celsius. And this is only climbing in here. So when we woke up, there was moisture all over the inside of the tent. Do you see the moisture in there? There's moisture up here above my head. That's from our breath overnight. Now, even though propane's a wet heat, it's kind of creating a draft. It's sucking air here and going out the roof vent. It's actually drying it up from the inside out. All right, everyone. Outside the tent feels so cold every time I go to put a piece of trash right there, because we are sucking air well there. But when we keep it shut, it's actually quite warm in here. Look at that, 60 degrees or 15 Celsius. It's getting nice and warm in here. I think I just burned some arm hair. Yep, I smell it. All right, everyone, it is chilly in this room. Only slightly above freezing, but the sun is starting to come up. It's starting to look beautiful outside. It is now 6:55 in the morning. Dawn is in 10 minutes, and sunrise is in about 40 minutes. According to the internet of our location, I don't think that heater being on is gonna do a thing in here, because the windows are wide open. But as you can probably tell by my voice, it is cold until we start doing something and getting our blood pumping. We did have breakfast, but still, we gotta get our blood pumping. Overnight, all we heard was one noise in the hallway. Something sounded like a metal tin or something falling over. Could have been anything. There was no wind, maybe an animal. But everything left us alone. before it gets late. Maybe we'll use up a couple of our fireworks that we have left. It's getting hot. Look at that, glowing tips. All right, everyone, this actually helps. It's coming up here right into my face. This actually helps, just standing over this. I think I'm gonna try having my energy drink to get my body moving a little too. We gotta start doing something, start cleaning this up. It's cold out here. But we gotta be out of here right when the sun comes up, because right when the sun comes up, it can rain within those 3 hours. We have so the forecast said it's gonna start raining at about 9 or 10. So we wanna get back as far as we can, because it could be a 3-hour walk again. Had to do that to scare away any scary critters that could be out here. Opening up our door. It's still super dark in the building. Because we had to almost tip the sled sideways to fit through the door, we're gonna load it in the hallway. I'm not quite sure how, but as soon as the firework smoke, the sulfur in the air, hit our flame, it turned it, instead of blue, bright orange. The sulfur, I guess, is what it is. Maybe it's because we were sleeping in here, but this puddle didn't start icing over. This is almost empty, that can of propane. We're letting that burn out. That's on high, and it's definitely not doing what it was a couple minutes ago. Go out here into the hallway. Everything you saw last night that was slushy, it's not completely frozen, but it froze up a bit more. The water in the halls never stopped dripping because it did stay ever so slightly above freezing. We can finally see a light at the end of the hall as the sun comes up. All right, everyone, I'm tightening up the sleeping bag as much as I can. All right, get that out into the sled. Now it's time to take the tent down. It is now 7:20 in the morning, and the sky is looking pretty nice. The sun's not up quite yet. The tent's packed up. Just about everything's packed up. We're waiting for it to get a little lighter before we navigate the hallways. You can start to see the sun peeking in. Look down the hall. It's now 7:25 in the morning. We no longer need flashlights. This place is quickly becoming less scary. The sunset is looking absolutely beautiful. I mean, the sunrise is looking absolutely beautiful. Had to go back for my phone. Look at that. That is so pretty out there. So the water in the stairwell is still dripping. It has slowed down with the temperature. It's starting to ice over a little bit, but overall, it has melted out a whole ton. We gotta be careful because I'm hearing noises. I'm pretty sure I'm hearing a raccoon up here in the ductwork. It could be pigeons. Something's walking around in the ducts. So we think it's a pigeon. Something's up here in the ductwork. Or, yeah, it's probably a pigeon on top of that duct. Well, we're back down to the shower room. Sun hasn't officially come up still yet. But we're on our way out now. Doing our final round through the building. Just waiting for complete daylight. echo. I remember as a kid, my dad got me one of these things. Even when I was a kid, I think this thing was still considered vintage, maybe. I think it's from the 80s and 90s. It's a light bright. There's a light bulb in the back of it, and you had a whole bunch of colored pins you'd stick in here to make a picture, and it would light up like a sign. I really never really wanted to do it. I found it boring, but it's cool to see one in here. There's a strainer in here. The first floor has all kinds of random things. It really looks apocalyptic. People even come in here with paint rollers to make themselves a new canvas to graffiti. Alright, we're back to camp right here. We're just about packed up. We're ready to head on out of here now. Alright, be very careful, it's very icy. And we're on our way out of here, bright and early. Alright everyone, we're about to head out the door now. And I just want to check to see if there's any tracks, evidence that raccoon left. Because we know it definitely came in. There was a set of new tracks. Looking around. Did it leave the same way it came in? It looks like that raccoon is still in the building. It never left. Unless it went out in a different way, but we don't see animal tracks anywhere else. Oh, the sun's up. We just can't see it. Cloudy skies. Oh, nice. This door was a little bit wider than the one at the bottom of the stairs. We had to twist it a little bit. Let's just put it down, get our snowshoes on. We're going to need the snowshoes because the snow, yep, it stayed soft. It didn't go below freezing at all last night. All right, everyone, we're getting out of here before the sun is even completely up. We want to try to beat the rain. It's supposed to rain heavily in about 2 or 3 hours. We're going to try to beat it. It's slightly above freezing. At ground level, I think it's slightly below because we have formed a nice hard crust, which is actually a good thing. It'll help us get back faster. It'll help this thing slide faster because if the ground is wet, it creates more resistance. I think it will soften up in the next 2-3 hours on the way back, but this is the time to make a move on. It's actually a lot easier because of our tracks from yesterday. You see, I'm not sinking, but if I go off of them, sink a bit more. We are leaving now. This water wasn't here yesterday. We got some thawing action going on. And there's a culvert pipe right underneath here. I hear another train way down there too. Finally made it to the second ditch. No. Okay, perfect. Almost went into the beaver pond. Everywhere. The beavers are like their own logging company. That's why there's no trees around these ponds. They cut them all down. That was very close to going in the pond. Compared to yesterday, all the beaver ponds seem to be thawing out. Didn't defrost that much because we're getting out of here before the rain, but slightly more defrosted than yesterday. But look, there's a gravel road right there. You're not going to sink too deep. You can go through it. That's the bottom. That's the gravel road right there. Oh. Remember, the deepest spot is coming up. It's about to the top of your boot, but I don't think you're going to go through it. I don't think you will. And if you do go through it, I think you're still going to be on top of this layer of ice. I'll go first if you want me to. I'll test it. I know in the summertime here we have to walk around because the water's literally... I'm pressing hard. I don't think I'm going to go through this. Little bird's nest. We're probably about 20 minutes from the railroad, which is our halfway point. It got a little bit of sunny, a little bit of patchy blue sky, but the wind is picking up and the sky back there is turning black. I think we're going to hit rain on the way back. The railroad is right down there across that field. I can tell by the needles on these trees that this area has the invasive weevils. They'll eat just about anything. We're at the top of the hill. It's getting windy. The sun is now completely blocked. The sky's getting dark quick. We're almost up to the area where the footprints are, but I don't think we should take our shoes off because the snow's a lot softer today. And even with them, I'm sinking a bit. The sky is now dark. It has just started raining, and according to the forecast, torrential downpours in the next hour, and we are not even halfway back. Okay, we just reached the footprints. This is where we walked up to yesterday without snowshoes. The snow's a bit softer, so for now we're gonna keep them on, I think. Yeah, the rain has just started picking up. It's actually more of a mix. I see snowflakes mixed into it. We've both put our waterproof jackets on because we figure we're gonna get soaked regardless, so we had to do that. Once we get up to maybe the train tracks, we'll take the snowshoes off because there's so many other tracks we can walk inside of. All right, I think we're done with the snowshoes because now we can sort of walk inside of other people's tracks who didn't make it all the way to the prison. They kind of gave up, but thankfully their tracks are here. I'm also thankful that this is mixed precipitation at the moment. It's half snowflakes, so it's not gonna wet us as badly. I know I showed moose tracks yesterday, but right here are 2 sets of them leading across the field. Thankfully it has stopped raining. We're almost to the tracks. It's taking a lot longer to get out of here today. It's now, by the time we get to the tracks, 2.5 hours to go only halfway. The snow's a lot softer today. Harder to pull. We got some geese up there. All right, everyone. Thankfully, the weather is colder than forecasted because this is mostly sleet, so we're not really getting wet. Here's the water crossing. It's a lot more fogged than it was yesterday, so hopefully we don't cave through this. Our snowshoes are off, so our weight's not spread. It's possible we're gonna fall into water here, so we gotta tread lightly. About to cross the railroad tracks. It took 2.5 hours to get back to this point. That's beaver poop right there. Okay, oh! I fell through a little bit, but I didn't get wet. Okay, we made it. Okay, we just crossed the railroad tracks and we're very tired. The train's coming, the light's green, but we're across, so that's a little bit more than halfway back to the truck. We're back on the regular road, crossing over a culvert, and then we have some abandoned culvert structures up here, almost to the intersection. We're only about halfway back and it's taken over 2.5 hours so far, but at least this part's easier, and right up there is an actual more heavily used snowmobile trail. Sinking is not the problem at all, it's just hurting legs. And the train still hasn't come by yet, but the lights are green. We made it back to the intersection. Just imagine, back in the 70s, this was an entire town. This was like the center of town at this intersection, with a lot of buildings mostly along the road we're taking here. In the summertime, all these roads are drivable for off-roading, with a lot of fun mud holes. Okay, so we still probably have nearly an hour. Luck has run out. It's pouring again. No more sleet. She's getting a ride for a while until this next hill. It's easy pulling downhill or flat, but not this incoming hill. It's also getting difficult in the spots where the snow's not solid. All right, everyone, the good news is we're now at the top of the last massive hill. There's 3 massive hills on this walk, and it's starting to get foggy out now. I don't know if you can see that, but down here at the bottom of the hill is the lake where the military was training. So we're about 75% of the way from the prison back to the vehicle. We're doing good. Now it's going to be easy after all those hills. It's mostly downhill now. All right, there are no fresh human tracks anywhere since us yesterday. What do you think this is? Is that a wolf? It looks too big to be a coyote. Could it be a lynx or a bobcat? Compared to my hand, that's a pretty big paw print. Look at that. And they're very fresh. Something was walking here. See how big these tracks are? They're huge. Mountain lion? No, I don't think so. Bobcat, lynx maybe. They got big feet. What about a wolf? I don't know. Looks way too big to be a coyote. And I hear another train now. I hope I don't regret this. Let's see how far it goes. Was it gonna meet us to the bottom? Oh no, please don't go off track. I think it's gonna just follow that snowmobile track. If it was colder out, it would go all the way to the bottom for sure. It might not now. See how slow it's going? It's because it's wet snow. It's turning into a slush. And here's the lake where the military was practicing. It's turning slushy too. The sled is still moving. It's going very slow, but at least we don't have to pull it or use energy to slow it down. And it just stopped. Yep. It's gonna be so warm out these next couple of days. It's already almost as warm as it was yesterday. Thankfully, most of the rain came in the form of sleet. Did pour a little bit. I can feel the extra weight. I am very wet. So the military isn't here anymore, but they were opening the ice, doing something there. There's currently a school bus down here, maybe dropping them off again, maybe picking them up, I don't know. There's lots of tracks right here. Vehicles have been going right here. I'm a little stressed out at the moment because I'm zooming in from across the lake and I can't see my vehicle where it was. I was skeptical about parking it there all along, but the military told me it was okay to park it there and go to the prison. Not 100% sure yet. We'll know in like 5 minutes. Yep, the truck's there. All right, I got scared for a minute, so I had to run up ahead. It's still there. I was just worried because it's weird. I felt like I was blocking things where they told me to park. It looks like they're closing up. Last couple of guys leaving. They have a bunch of areas open that are the size of swimming pools. I don't know if they're trying to like adjust to cold water or something. I know my dad, when he was in the military, he said they had you jump into freezing cold water because some people would go into shock and not swim and they'd have to get you out. But after a few times of that, you'll stop going into shock and supposedly never do that again. See, they have, just like I showed down there, another area that's pretty open. I feel like that's something about what they were doing. But now, warm weather for the next couple of days, above freezing temperatures every day for the next week. I think winter around here is just about over. The growing season doesn't start until June up here, but who knows what's going to happen. Everything's trending warmer. They say this year, even though it was a colder than normal winter, we expect an early spring. All right, everyone, so it's foggy in here. Let's turn the truck on. Took just about 4 hours to get back. Put the defroster on, get rid of this fog, and we're about to take off. So this was interesting. I was a little worried about the truck because I don't like taking up all the space, especially seeing a school bus had to just get by us because everyone's done training. It's pouring rain. The school bus picked up everyone. So now we're about to take off down the road. There might be some exciting mud holes on the way out of here. By spraying that helps lubricate a little bit of the windshield wipers. I think I gotta get a new windshield wiper. I see one of them starting to tear. Alright. The ground is still frozen, so it's not gonna be super muddy. That's why the weather's worried about flash floods, because the ground's still frozen. It can't absorb any of this water. It's just gonna dribble off and start floods combined with the melting snow. There's supposed to be heavy rain. It looks like we got lucky and survived the brunt of it, but we are still pretty soaked. It poured for like 20 minutes straight. Thankfully, it was mostly sleet. Current temperature is 46 degrees Fahrenheit or 8 Celsius. I'm learning. I'm getting a lot better where I don't even have to put the translation on the screen. Celsius is a lot easier to learn, but Fahrenheit is a lot more accurate because think of it like this. With Fahrenheit, freezing is 32 and boiling, I believe, is what, 220? I might be wrong, but I know there's only a 100-degree difference between those with Celsius. So Fahrenheit's a little more accurate, but Celsius is a lot easier to learn and it makes a bit more sense. That's why it's easier to learn. All right, we're in four-wheel drive. Now this is fun. Look at all that mud. Looks like chocolate milk on the windshield. All right, here's where the military base actually is. They got a bunch of more buildings you can't see that are way off the road. There's no more mud holes, it looks like, to have fun in. But a lot of little potholes forming. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a new this one sounds like a little bit of the blade is falling off, so there's a little teeny bit of metal on metal, or actually it looks like a plastic part. I don't have to worry about it scratching. There's a plastic piece touching, but it's still an unpleasant noise. But we're finally back to the pavement. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day. Good, perfect. The rain just started up. Free car wash after that muddy road.